Hey guys, welcome back to the Hunter Base Podcast. What do Maverick Hunters do when they're not hunting Mavericks? They go back to the base, recharge, shoot the shit. I'm your host of the most, Zeromaster, and back with me again, I have RyeGuy.
Actually just RyeGuy now because, you know.
I have RyeGuy.
Rye, you don't forget it.
And also this time, another old good friend of mine from another Australian, because I know a few of those. It's Lex.
Hi, I'm here. Yeah.
So is there anything you want to tell the people about yourself? Because it's your first time being on the podcast.
I'm odd. That's really all you have to know.
All right.
I say weird things, and if I sound like an incoherent idiot, it's because I am one.
And he just woke up.
Yes, I just woke up like half an hour ago. I still have drugs in my system.
It's like 11 a.m. over there?
Dead 11 a.m. Yes, like dead on.
Yeah, because it's 9 p.m. where I'm at, and Riley, I don't know what time.
It's 8 o'clock here. So.
Oh, okay, whatever. So there's a slight difference, but anyways, we're here tonight to talk about some Kamen Rider shows because, as many of you know, I used to be part of the what was it called? Can't even remember the podcast I used to be a part. It was a Toku podcast, Tokusatsu Corner. That's what it was called. Yeah. And we used to do. Oh God, we used to do it weekly. Then we did bi-weekly. Then we did monthly. Riley, you were actually on the last episode.
Yeah. I admit maybe when I was kind of incoherent when I was back then, you know. But
I don't even know if the episodes are still up. Like the hard drive they were on is. I don't even know if it works, and Vimeo removed a bunch of my stuff, so who knows if they exist. But
that explains why I can't find some of your stuff on Vimeo.
Yeah. So a lot of stuff got removed, even though I was paying for a premium subscription to Vimeo, which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. But the reason I brought it up is because, obviously, I'm a fan of Tokusatsu. Obviously, RyeGuy was on for the Ninja Steel discussion that we did quite a few episodes back. So this time I thought we'd change it up and talk about Kamen Rider. Now, I had fallen out of Kamen Rider around when X-Aid came out. I think it was before the first arc finished of X-Aid, or it just finished, and I had kind of dropped it because I was I guess you could say I was burnt out from Toku. Because what was the Sentai that year?
Q-Ranger.
Was it? No, hold on. Because I think it was Zoo Oger still at that.
Oh, okay.
And I had dropped Zoo Oger first, and I was still kind of watching Kamen Rider because Kamen Rider I really liked. It's one of my favorite shows, so I kept watching it. And then I dropped it, I think, at episode 16 or something like that. 16, 20, I can't remember, somewhere around there. I just stopped getting updates. I didn't drop it. I just stopped checking in on Toku, and even Power Rangers I kind of stopped watching, and that was the one that I thought I wouldn't drop. So I ended up falling into that, going back to anime, which I hadn't watched in a long time, and then within the last year I started getting invested in Toku again because of all the stuff that was coming out about Beast Morphers and Ninja Steel ending and stuff. So I figured I'd get caught up. So I watched all through Ninja Steel, and then I was fortunate enough to work a job where I can, if I have downtime, I can basically do whatever I want on the internet. So I just powered through X8 and build. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about X8 and hopefully build, depending on how long this goes. If we get to an hour and a half or something, everyone, will save the build discussion for another episode. But because there's a lot to talk about with both series, and just to date this episode, the subtitles for the build movie Be the One just came out a few days ago. So I watched it, but these guys haven't seen it yet, and it's fresh. So, and I think that's all the build stuff that's left, because they also released the Rogue episode 3, which is the last episode.
Yeah. There's also the Cross V Cinema that just got released, but
That's true.
the subtitles on that are a little bit off. Yeah.
So it hasn't gotten the TV Nihon or overtime.
Nah, not yet.
Essentially, yeah. And like, I use Steven Nihon stuff because I personally prefer the way they translate things and stuff like that. So
I kind of like TV Nihon more now. I used to like overtime because overtime would be like quick. They'd have it almost done like, I remember the Foes days. They had it like an episode done like 4 hours after it aired sometimes, which was crazy. But they've kind of gotten lax and they've slowed down, which is fine because they sub like 4 or 5 different projects at the same time, so that's fine. But also TV Nihon just seems to be, it's always was overtime was the fastest and TV Nihon was the higher quality. So TV Nihon took longer, but they put more effort into it because sometimes overtime. I remember seeing a V5 for an overtime sub. So they're going.
Oh God.
So. But it is what it is. I mean, there's subs for professional stuff like on Crunchyroll that is bad. So,
I just in general, just like TV Neo tends to be a lot more accurate to the Japanese while trying to make it sound as natural as I possibly can, which is what I really like about them. So
everybody's gonna obviously have their preference. Specifically for this, we're probably gonna be going over the TV Nihon stuff because that's the one that I'm the more familiar with, and I assume you're familiar with.
Because most of my issues with Emu in the earlier stuff is due to the TV Nihon subs because they are more accurate to his actual dialogue and how he speaks. So
I stuck with both because I use overtime when I can, particularly if I'm really impatient.
You guys, if I knew you guys back when like Kamen Rider Foes was airing, like how impatient I was waiting for subs. But I just gotten into Kamen Rider, and I was like, I want to watch the new one. I want to watch my Rocket Space Boy.
It got
to the point where I would like download the RAWs, and sometimes the RAWs, I'd watch the RAWs 3-4 times before the subs came out. And at that point, I'm like, oh, well, I kind of got what they were saying. So let's start with X8. And I don't have a gamer driver, but this is the closest Toku thing I could find. But I don't have an X8 card. This is a double card.
I actually have most of the X8 toys. So
I'm so jealous.
I want to. I have almost all the gash ads and pretty much every single like GashCon weapon.
I think it's impossible for anybody to rival you, Riley, because you tend to have almost all the stuff of everything. Like unless you really don't like the show, which you even have Ghost stuff. So
actually, I gave most of my Ghost stuff to a friend of mine. So the only ones I'm keeping are the 2 icons for Necrom stuff. So yeah.
I actually did the same. I actually did the same thing. I collected most of the Ghost line, but then I gave it away to a friend of mine because I just didn't want them. Because at the time, Ghost was my least favorite series. Now that's Geo, but Ghost is still pretty bad in my opinion. So
Can I buy stuff from you? Like you purged at one point, and I can't remember if I bought stuff from you.
Actually, I keep going on and off. I'm just very inconsistent with when I want something and when I don't want something. Now I am keeping most of my stuff since that friend I mentioned I'm not really friends with anymore. So yeah, I'm keeping all my stuff. Like I'm actually keeping my Drive stuff, which I'm pretty happy because Drive to me has like the best toy line. I love Drive stuff.
Yeah, so, Drive stuff is really good. Ooh-wee.
Hey! Don't you be eyeing us there, Zero.
Sorry. I see what you did there. All right, that's enough of Go. Let's talk about X8. And I guess to start off, the easiest place to say is what the motif of this show is. And it's funny that I ended falling out of Kamen Rider or Toku in general at this point when this season was airing because it was the one about video games. I like video games. You can't see it. I got video game memorabilia behind me because it's so dark in here, but you can't see. But it's there. You see, I got video games.
I got this feeling you would like it because of the video game stuff. So,
but on top of that, other than it just being like about video games, it had a really dang good story, and I didn't think, and it was kind of like a doctor's drama for kids, like which was kind of interesting. I wasn't really expecting that. I think part of the thing is I didn't know if I would like the doctor stuff early on, but as time went on, I was getting more into it when I finally did fully watch the show. Basically, to say what the story is there's a virus called the Bugster virus, which is a computer virus, which is now infecting people and getting them sick and making them make monsters, and if the monster's not defeated, they die or disappear or become bugsters. I don't fucking know. So
okay. So how it works is that the bugster infection will infect the person, and then like once the person dies, the bugs becomes completely corporeal and completely separate from their host. So that's what happened with Graphite, because Graphite, spoilers, infected Hero's girlfriend, and then when Hero's girlfriend Psycho, I forget her name, Saki, I said her name Saki, when she passed away, Graphite became completely corporeal and completely independent from Saki. That's how it works.
Okay, gotcha.
So, I'm a nerd.
Gotcha. Well, it's just the reason I said it the way it did is because things later on in the series make me go, what? So, So yeah, it's basically they have to use the gash apps, which are basically like game cartridges in their driver to level up, literally, so they can beat the bugsters. We don't quite know at the start who's behind it, but we soon find out. The story goes off from there because this is one of those Kamen Rider seasons like Gaim that has 3 separate arcs. So let's just start. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say let's just start. Let's start by talking about the first arc of the series, which is I don't know what I would call this arc. I guess I would call this the whatever the first arc. The second arc is the second and third arc are easier to pin down, but I say this is like just the first main arc of the story, which is from episode 1 to whenever they get rid of Gem. So when Gem gets defeated, spoiler, character, a bad guy loses. So
you should expect that in Kamen Rider. But the first arc to me is easily the weakest because there was a lot of carryover, in my opinion, from Ghost, at least in terms of the tone and its humor. Because one of my problems with Ghost is that it was really juvenile throughout at least after episode 12, when like the new writing team came in for Ghost. It became really juvenile and really hallmarky, and just like, and that was still kind of holding over from Ghost, where like Emmy would trip over just because that's an easy way to make the 5-year-olds in the audience laugh and stuff like that.
I'm glad you brought that up because they did like. It's funny because I watched like the series first and then I started watching the movies. I like when I saw the Dr. Pac-Man movie, that obviously was written early on, and some of that shit was in there. So, and I just remember, oh yeah, he is a klutz, I guess. Like it was one of those things that they just stopped talking about partway through the series because it wasn't important anymore. And I will say I don't want to get too far into Ghost, but I will say that initially I liked Ghost, but as time went on, it just got so convoluted that I was watching it out of habit. I don't hate the series, but I don't love it either. If it's mostly because it has the most handsome ghostly prince boy of all time. So that's why. But going back into X-Aid, I guess the best place to start, since we were talking about it, is to talk about our main character, M or Emu, however they want to pronounce it. He's
Yeah,
kind of
sorry, funny story about Emu. Due to the way his name was spelt, and because I'm Australian, I pronounced his name as Emu for the longest time, and now I finally got it right. So yeah, like it's Emu because that's the Japanese,
What
not
were you
Emu.
like?
You dumb.
What were you like? You like the fuck? This cunt no emu.
Yeah, you can say that.
And I should know.
Yeah.
My country lost the Great Emu War.
Oh God, yeah, that's like if you like it for any person out there that wants an easy way to make fun of Australians, the Great Emu War. Just fan it up. We lost. We lost.
Sorry, Lex. I have to ask. Did you get PTSD when you saw his name at first? You're like,
I was like, oh no,
oh God, they're back.
They're back.
but yeah, in terms of his character, Emu is just kind of like this guy who he was saved when he was young in surgery by I guess a really talented surgeon, and he kind of introduced him to games. So he's a gamer, but his dream, and he's also a intern doctor, and his a general practitioner, I guess, is how he starts out. And then I guess his dream is to become a full-time doctor so he can start saving lives like his life was saved.
Like he was mostly, I think, in the pediatrician ward, like taking care of like young kids that were getting sick. Because I noticed a lot in the show that I think they said stuff that he works a lot with children.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, which was probably a way to help hook the younger kids in the audience, because like companies think that if you put young kids in, young kids will relate to the young kid, which is true, I guess, sometimes. Like, but I mean, you think about stuff like Justin from Turbo, it didn't really work there. But yeah, that's who they decided to. That was his strict during the first. I don't remember if he started having adult patients by the end of the show. I think maybe even now he's still in the pediatrician ward. I'm not sure.
Mostly in the whatever the special ward's called is where he had his adult patients. Or when he started doing surgeries because he wanted to become a better surgeon. That's one thing I gotta say about Emu. And sorry, RyeGuy, I know we're not letting you talk, but I'm just gonna get this thought out.
Actually, I'll be right back. Just gotta go do something real quick.
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
What I like is he's not a talented doctor out the gate. He's just an intern, and I like that you can see his growth over the series as he becomes a better doctor. I know when later on when the X8 and Build movie happens, like he doesn't have much to do in terms of being a doctor, but you see him doing doctor things more often, as almost like he's become an official doctor at that point. Because I think I can't remember if it's at the end of the series or if it's in one of the Hyper Battle videos or what it was, that he's a full-fledged doctor at that point. He's not an intern anymore. I can't remember, but yeah, I just like that they had this arc with his character where he starts off not being that good. Well, not being that good in terms of like he obviously has medical training and stuff like that, but he doesn't know how to deal with patients the same way as, say, other people, as other doctors that we find out, like this night guy surgeon,
Hero.
Hero. He's like who's very hands off with his patients. He doesn't have the same approach. So I think it was interesting for that we got the character. He had a full, I wouldn't say it was like a hero's journey arc, but he had an arc as a doctor.
a hero's journey arc.
Not hero. I'm talking about Emu, but whatever. Riley, since you're back, what do you think of Emu's character?
For me, I don't like, here's okay, I don't hate his character, but he came off as really bland to me at first, because his whole thing, just like his character felt like just like Takaru from last year, where his only character came down to being like goody two shoes who spouted like Hallmark card nonsense. He got better later on, but it wasn't to a point where I cared for. So yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I'll just say that I don't find Emmett was only offensive to me in terms of like his dumb stuff to me really in episode when Kurito was killed. But we'll get to that when we get to that. But my thing with Emu is that he's kind of bland because like his only real character is that he's the good guy. He is the good guy sort of blank slate. He definitely has more character than like Takaru definitely, but like I don't know. It's just like I just don't really I don't really just like these kind of writers where their only character trait is being the good guy.
Yeah.
Like with Edgy, there was a lot like while he was the good guy character, there was definitely a lot more to him than just being the good guy, which is one of the reasons why I really like AG. But with Emu, it's like, yeah, you have his backstory, you have his motivation, but he would constantly butt heads with Hero in the early show because like he is incredibly idealistic compared to Hero's like, I'm just here to do my job. Which to me I found to be a lot more logical because I'm just more of a very like logical person. Like I say like I'm a hero just get the job done. You know, like I'm here to do a job, like not to be friends with them.
Yeah, and it wasn't just Hero; it was all the doctors that initially that took a long time to warm up to, except for Kiryu. But Kiryu's also was a little bit of a snake in the grass at first. But I think it shows that it was good for his character because if he was just the same at the start, he would have ended up like Takaru, which is like not a very big arc because Takaru does change by the end of Ghost, but like it's ruined because there's not really a lot of stuff conflicting his ideals. And that's one of the things with Ghost that made it kind of boring to me, especially during the middle and end, because they shoehorned in all these characters and they all had to have backstory and shit. That's why I said like I cared more about the Prince as a character than Takaru. There wasn't really a lot there other than he dies 7 times in the show, even though he has to get all the things for the 99th day. But and that's the thing with Emu is like he's challenged along the way by people who are obviously more skilled than him. Like what's Shooty Man? I forget his name.
Taiga.
Taiga, who he was a doctor, but he lost his license because he didn't play by the rules. Even he knows, that Emu's like not experienced in this kind of thing. So it's interesting that makes him Emu an interesting character because it gives him a challenge. Whereas again, like something like Takaru, his ideals weren't challenged that much or not challenged hard enough. So but yeah, I honestly like he is pretty much he's the main character, so he's the center of the story essentially. But I didn't find him boring like I found Takaru boring or Haruto boring and stuff like that because he actually had, like Emu actually had an arc which I liked about him, and also he wasn't like he was serious when he needed to be, and the goofiness did kind of die down after the first arc. Because things were getting darker. But he was always optimistic, which is, but not to a point where it got annoying. If I can point that out. So, but he's also not a moron. He knows when what the situation calls for, which is sometimes at the start he would make mistakes all the time because he's still learning how to do this doctor thing. But as time went on, he kind of got it. Like. I know this is jumping way ahead, but the fight where he basically kills Peridot was like,
that's my favorite moment because I was just like, what? Yeah, like that was my favorite moment.
Yes, that was kind of out of it. It wasn't out of character for him because it made sense at that moment. So that's why I like Emu because as a character because he's not the overly like positive character like we've had before with like Takaru that makes him boring. He actually has flaws and he has a character arc and he has to grow. But I guess we've said quite a bit about him. As we talk about the story, we'll be hearing more about Emu. Let's talk about Hero. How do you guys feel about Hero?
Hero he's kind of on the same level of Emu, is that he's not a very interesting character because like think about it this way. Emu is like the standard goody two shoes main rider. Hero is the standard sort of antisocial, I have a stick up my ass secondary rider that's supposed to butt heads with the main character at the start. Definitely at the start. While I was a lot more, I felt more for Hero's stance on how to be a doctor, because I found it to be less obnoxious and less about, making the kids feel special. Hero's not a bad character. He's definitely got better as time went on, but even now, I struggle to really think of any reasons why I thought he was a great character, because he really wasn't to me. Because to put it out there, my favorite character in the show is either Tiger or Kiryu or Naruto. So yeah, because like they had a lot more character to them, way more character. Like it's just like Hero was kind of bland, honestly.
Yeah.
And like the most interesting thing about him was his backstory, which is, I guess, a good thing or something, then not. I don't know. I don't really know how to put it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Heroes, like, yeah, Hero. It's like I know, like, Kamen Rider tends to have like these tropes, like you got good main rider, serious, douchebag edgelord secondary. Well, he really wasn't that much of an edgelord, but definitely a douche.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know, like, Kamen Rider tends to have these like archetypes, but like there's a right way and a wrong way to do them. Like,
yeah, and like Hero was not really the best example of this kind of character. Like, to me, like, one of the reasons why I love Gaim so much is because like it had both Kota and Kaito were the good rider and the douchebag secondary rider, but there was so much more to them. Like, they were actual human beings with flaws and aspirations, and like the relationship between the two was just really investing and really fun to watch in Gaim. But compared to this, it's like they're just Emu and Hero are just a lot blander than Kota and Kaito. Just in comparison.
And that's a really good comparison, because that's kind of, I think, what they were going for, but it didn't quite mean it. Because and that's why I know a lot of people put Gaim up there, but it's just really good. That's why it goes up there for a lot of people.
Yeah,
it's just like when somebody asked me, like, I want to get into this Kamen Rider thing, where I start, I'm like, start with Gaim. It's as much as my O's is my favorite, and I want you to experience O's as your first show, Gaim's a much better introduction than O's is. I admit that. Like, it is the best of the Heisei era. It's the best show, and which is hilarious because Double held that in for a long time, that title with people, and then Gaim comes in and just like, not today. But I guess we should have to explain who Hero was. Basically, he's a genius heart surgeon. I'm kind of sad that the nurses only show up for a couple episodes to put the driver on him and stuff, because he holds his hands up like he's performing surgery. When
to me that was kind of hilarious out of context, because like my mind's thinking about it a lot. So like, to me, they just seemed like he's two little sex slaves that would follow him around at all like minutes a day, and I'm just like, okay.
It was I know it would have been silly, but I would have loved it if he once appeared to fight a monster. He held his hands up. He's like, "Where are my nurses?"
That actually would be funny.
Yeah.
Hello, where are you guys? Oh, for God's sakes, I'll do it myself. That never happened. I was also kind of upset, and I know this happens later on, when Hero has no Gashats. He steals Mighty Action X from Emu because he's not in the right mindset, and he presses it, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna use it. Nope, last minute, Emu takes it in his hand. I'm like, no, I want to see him use it.
Yeah, that would have been interesting to see Hiro's body language in the X8 suit. It really would have been. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hiro basically he's very. I wouldn't say he's cocky. I just would say he's very direct.
Smart.
It's like, yeah, and because he is one of the best surgeons in the world, he takes things very seriously, and he sees Emu as somebody who doesn't take things seriously because he's focused on aspects that aren't necessarily technically part of healthcare, but it's but near the end, I think Hiro starts to realize that it's still an important part of being in healthcare is to care about the patients a little more. Because what Hiro at the start, he's like, it's my job is to be a surgeon, so I am going to perform surgery, and that's it. And he's damn good at it. I mean, he the whole reason even when he's eating sweets, he's like his catchphrase is "There's nothing I can't cut," and he always cuts perfectly, even with a butter knife. So, and that's this whole spiel. So at the start of the show, he was kind of a guy with a stick up his ass, like you guys were saying. But near the end, he kind of mellowed out. I will say that I thought I know it's his backstory, but I felt like his betrayal later on came out of left field a little bit. Because
I know, that was the worst part of the Cronus arc because he had if you think about it, he had absolutely no reason to do it because the odds were in his favor that very moment, but he still betrayed them anyway. That was really forced.
And on top of it, earlier in the series, he somebody else offers him something similar, and he's like, "No, she's dead. You can't bring the dead back to life." And I think. The only thing I could think of that would have changed his mind is Kiryu coming back, but to be honest, Kiryu wasn't really back, if you know what I mean. He was back, but he wasn't he was different, which we'll get into later.
Yeah, he was still Kiryu, but he wasn't human anymore.
Yeah, he basically Kiryu had fully become a bugster at that point because that was the only way he could survive.
He was living data, just like Kirito at the time.
Yeah, can we talk about Kiryu? He's my favorite.
Yeah, no, Kiryu is great. I love his snark. I love his sass. I love the way he carries himself. That's just that to me. That's just that to me just instantly just gravitates me towards a character. Just those kind of.
You know what it was? Partially that may have made me drop the series. Probably when he died because he was my favorite.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, by the way, I know this is going ahead, but they killed a main character off on the Christmas episode.
While that is ballsy, that episode was so tonally all over the place because sometimes it went right from Christmas joy to I'm sad, the character's dead, I feel sad.
So Merry Christmas, kids. Kamen Rider's dead.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Kiryu is a guy who's I guess he's still a doctor, but he's not with a hospital or anything. I don't know. And he was somebody who actually knew about the Bugster virus early on because he had a friend who was infected by it. His friend didn't die from the Bugster virus. His friend got killed in a car accident because he was so afraid of he was so freaked out about when Kiryu told him the truth. And that's his whole character because his character is he lies a lot. And the reason he lies is because the truth is more painful in his eyes. And the first time he tells the truth in the series, it backfires on them, and they only find out he was telling the truth when he dies. So, So by episode 16, the Christmas episode, by the way, this guy dies. They just straight up kill him, and I'm just like, oh my god, he's fucking dead. Santa Claus, help!
Yeah,
but
Riley here actually made fun of that in a skit a couple of years ago. If you remember, if anyone remembers that.
If not, if Zero doesn't remember, I'll just link it to him later. So,
but the interesting thing about him is his he didn't get a humanoid form until a level 2, which most of them got a humanoid form in level level 3. Sorry, maybe it's level 3. I can't remember.
Like how his was that level 1 was a little chibi humanoid form. Level 2 for him was the show's rider machine, the bike.
He's the
and
bike.
level 3 was humanoid.
Yeah.
Which finally sorry I keep interrupting you. But like in the episode where he gets Giri Chambara, like the first thing he says when he transforms is finally something humanoid.
Yeah, because the funny thing is he's the bike. Emu has to ride him.
Yeah, like, and that led to a lovely, like, out of context photo. Are you gonna ride me or what?
But yeah, like, what I loved about Kiryu is he also was trying to investigate everything. Like he, of course, like he's the one who finds out about who's really behind all this stuff, and he tries to tell the others about it, but of course they don't believe him because he's liar, liar, pants on fire. And when he does tell the truth, it gets turned around on him, like we said before. So he's a more insightful character, and he uses the lies to his advantage, but also, again, that's because the truth hurts whenever he gives the truth, so he tries not to tell the truth that often. But he also is a good clash with Emu, because a lot of the times he'll agree with the other doctors and be like, yeah, you're not ready for this, or he'll tell him off for things, even though at the start he's like, let's be friends, man, I got a Hawaiian shirt and cool glasses, you can trust me, because no one who wears a Hawaiian shirt has ever done anything evil. but yeah, I just thought he was a cool character, and he was trying to get to the root of the problem. That's why he ended up being my favorite. That, and like, even though he doesn't get a lot of like forms because of unfortunately he dies early on in the series, he does come back though as a bugster, and he does finally, they give him a humanoid form for level 2, which I was happy to see. And the only reason it is because it's not level 2, it's technically level 0. So which I liked. It was weird though, because it wasn't as armored as, say, the other rider suits. It was just like a black jumpsuit under like only the most necessary pieces of the Giri Giri Chamba armor that wouldn't make it look like Giri Giri Chamba.
Because fun fact, they actually made the laser turbo suit from the Genom level 0 suit, because once Kirito stopped being level 0 because he started being like level 0x, they retook the Genom level 0 suit and they made it the laser turbo suit. So fun little side fact there.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
So, though, admittedly, like, I think Lex and I made a joke of like his helmet. Like, the first thing that comes to mind when it's like here comes the Crimson Chin.
When Kiryu uses Shakuriki Sports for the first time, I'm like, is this bike on bike action? Like, what?
Oh yeah.
Sexy, right? Not only that, whenever he goes like a Shakuriki Sports and he uses like his level 1 form, like, not when he summons like the other his level 1 form with the other Baxo bike shot, he's just like, and he's like, so it's a bike riding a bike while wearing a bike.
It's bikeception.
Yeah.
Actually, another thing, like something I found really disturbing, which I know it's not supposed to be disturbing, it's supposed to be like heartwarming, is that like when Kiryu is like dead, and like in the next episode when Emu regains his spirit, he summons like a dead soulless version of like the bike, and like the eyes aren't lit up, and I'm just like wait, is Emma driving a corpse?
Yeah, That was really weird. I'm like, wait, how can he use the bike? He's dead. What is it like? Did they just find a way to make Bakusho bike like sentient? Like, I was very confused.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is this? Or is one of the riders using Bakusho bike?
I don't think they really explained how that worked. So
Yeah,
that's the
Sorry,
fault
you go
of
ahead.
having one of the riders be the bike because
yeah.
yeah,
But you know what? It was an interesting idea to have Emu ride Kiryu, but we still have
Crazy.
one more main rider to talk about, and that's Taiga, who honestly he's one of my favorite characters too.
Yeah.
But Kiryu just barely beats him in my books.
Taiga.
What I like the most about Tiger is I feel like he had the best growth throughout the entire show. Because he just went from a complete self-centered asshole who only cared about being the only rider, being the only one to have the gas shots, and when he finally met Nico, like Nico actually made him start to feel again because he started to see Nico as like his own patient. Like Tiger just had the best growth, and I feel like he had probably the best backstory too.
Yeah,
like Tiger to me is such a fleshed out character. That's one of the reasons why I love him so much. And in general. So you go ahead.
He got the prequel spinoff. I forget what's his writer name again. Snipe. Right.
Snipe.
So there was a 4-episode spinoff slash prequel series to X8 called Snipe, and it was like a DVD only thing. So it's like rated. It's like it's got like more serious stuff like blood and like shit in it that you normally wouldn't see. I mean, Kamen Rider has blood, but not like the amount of blood that would in these episodes. I was like, holy fuck! Could they throw enough blood at it? Someone called John Romero. So, but like those are focused on him, and they usually do that with 3rd or 4th-ish riders because they did it in Build as well with Rogue, which I was okay with because Rogue is my favorite. But yeah, Taiga's one who has a lot of backstory in it, and if you're gonna watch X8, watch the Snipe videos. They're only like 20 minutes each, and there's only 4 episodes, and it goes over all his backstory because a lot of stuff is hinted at. And the thing that is interesting about him is he takes a lot of he holds a lot of guilt that he was the one who let Hiro's girlfriend die because he failed to finish off Graphite. And when Graphite shows up in the series, you like Taiga's instantly like rage mode. He's like, Graphite.
Yeah.
Even though Hiro is just like at the funny thing about the whole girlfriend thing, just going back to Hiro real quick, sorry, RyeGuy, I didn't mean to cut you off. Is that Hiro's like it's like you did what you could. It's people die, get over it. But then later on in the series, he's like, I want my girlfriend back. And Taiga he feels even worse because that's why he betrayed them because she died and he could have saved her. He feels a lot of guilt, I should say, over that and that caused him, because of this like partial selfishness to try to save, even though it was to try to save someone else, he becomes an unlicensed doctor because they take away his medical license after that happens. So and I think it's funny that he basically runs like a rundown hospital, just him. It's just an abandoned hospital that he just chills at. But the funny thing is, there's an abandoned hospital near my house that my mother used to work at. She works at a hospital, and they made a new one. And they haven't done anything with that hospital. So half the time, I'm like, is Taiga chilling out in here? But I really liked his character. I really liked his rider form. Bang Bang Shooting is really cool. I mean, I'm a Mega Man guy. I know you can't see it, but blue. Yeah. I like blue, and his rider form had green hair that went down like this in front of his eye, and I had green long hair at that time when the show was coming out. So maybe that's why I.
Taiga was probably my favorite character out of them for like just it's like the same reason Lex stated, it's. And also, like, he would, like, I I just love this guy's attitude. He was like superly sassy.
I love how he wouldn't call the characters by their names, just by their rider names.
Yeah.
Every time he saw Emu, he'd be like, Exedo.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
brave. He always made his eyes wide when he said brave. Brave. I noticed. Probably because of the inflection. But we can't talk about Taiga without talking about Nico, and I think this is probably a good translation to talk about Nico because she was very important to his character development.
yeah.
So just to explain who Nico is, Nico is this she's this professional gamer who wants Taiga to finish off Emu because she lost to him at a video game tournament.
Oh no!
And I was like, and her reasoning is like, well, he ruined my winning streak. And I'm like, oh my god, a professional gamer lost? That's never happened ever. I thought her backstory was kind of dumb, but I liked her character a lot. So
yeah, my opinion on Nico is that like once she grew up, she became a lot better of a character. But at the start, I found her to be absolutely obnoxious and like the worst thing about the show, honestly. Until she grew up, I really didn't enjoy her character. She was just like,
she made Taiga take initiative, which is good. She pushed him a lot, which is good because a lot of time Taiga wouldn't fucking get involved. Even to the point where she willingly becomes a ride player just as a form of motivation, like literally. And like Taiga's pissed about it. By the way, he's like, "It's my job to be the rider. Why are you taking this away from me?" But
Nico, Nico, I didn't like her at the start because like her reasoning behind like wanting to kill Emu was so petty and stupid, and it's like it wasn't until like later on till like when she became a ride player, like she started to grow up, like
yeah, exactly. And you could tell she had a thing for Taiga.
Oh no, definitely they both had a thing for each other. Though I mean, it's kind of weird in context because like they have like a 10-year age difference. So
I know that she's like technically like a teenager in the show, but she's older than that. The actress is older than that, which I'm fine with because she's hot. So
no, I'm just saying like I personally don't care. Like they're both consenting adults. It doesn't really matter. But I'm saying it's kind of weird because she's 19 and like Tiger's like 29 or 28, something like that in the show. So.
Also, Riley, I'm sorry, but Nico.
Oh god. I remember like someone actually did make a meme about that, like where the two Nikos are actually arguing. And like Tiger's like, I fucking hate both of you.
Let's let's bounce back and restart. But
that's a good song.
I know. I love Foes. But let's go back to talking about. Oh my god, I hate pronouncing this name. Poppy.
Poppy. Oh no, like I hate her. I hate her fucking name. Like it's stupid. But Poppy is oh god. Okay, I have a real problem when Kamen Rider like essentially brings an anime archetype into it, and like they don't even try to make it somewhat realistic. She just acts like a live action anime character, and it really annoys the crap out of me because things that work in animation don't work in live action, like most of the time.
Did an oopsie. Poppy people did an oopsie. No, actually, I like Poppy. I think she like. It's funny for the reason that you don't like that aspect. I love that aspect because she like. Even though she got annoying at times, like I still really liked that character. And by the way, her rider form is fucking awesome. I love it. It's like amazing.
Oh no, I know she's like the most powerful female Kamen Rider if you actually look at her stats. So it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, wait, hold on. Is she more powerful than oh shit? Who was the one that I was thinking of a moment ago? Is she more powerful than in terms of stats compared to Peach Girl from Gaim? Because she was really strong.
Yeah. Oh no, she is like her punching and kicking stats. They're all in the 60s. So
Really?
compared to like I forget her name, like her writer name, so I'm just gonna call her I even forget her character. Yo, her name's Yo. No, not Yo. That's Love
And
Life.
we can add Poppy to the list of female Kamen Riders who don't die. Because they die a lot.
Yeah, like I'm glad they got better. I think it's mostly just because like Tokushi Inoue is not writing anymore over there, so like, and he's the one that mostly wrote all the series with the female Kamen Riders that died.
When Peach Girl died near the end of Gaima, I was like, "Come on, Toby."
I mean, she.
No, to be fair, like Yoko had a lot more character to her than some of the other female Kamen Riders. So like, at least when she died, like she at least lived for like a longer time than most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I like that they did the dual. I wouldn't say the dual personality because really she's Poppy all the time, but she only goes into a more human nurse personality to blend in with the humans essentially. Like that's not really, maybe it is part of her personality a little bit because when she basically becomes evil for a little bit, she kind of like adopts more of a serious personality, serious aspects into her personality. But I never like, I always saw her as Poppy, not the nurse character was just like she's just blending in. That was the only thing that
I preferred her as Asuna because she just wasn't jumping all around like again, like I just didn't like that aspect of her character. Like if Poppy was animated, I'd like her so much more.
Yeah.
It's funny because I liked I liked Poppy. I thought she brought something fresh to the show that I really needed. The only thing that it got annoying is when characters were obviously like they were like serious about something, and then Poppy just shows up, and it's like, okay.
No, like the worst part is when they say "Poppy Pipapo" in the most serious voice ever.
The first time Hero said it, I heard him say it like, "Sorry, can you say it again?" Poppy Pipapo. Say it again, Poppy Pipapo.
Peter picked a pick a peppers.
Poppy. Fuck my fuck.
Yeah, like to be honest, Poppy did get a lot better. Like she got better. Like once they stopped having her like act like a Genki girl like all the time.
Yeah.
Like once they, because like Poppy did get a lot better. Like once they sort of like when Emu reprogrammed her, which sounds really bad out of the context, to basically like make her like she like they re-give her like independent thought since she wasn't like allied with the bad guys anymore. She sort of like broke down and said she just wanted to play do re mi fa beat with people. That's all she wanted to do because if you didn't know, she is the she's sort of like the AI assistant like in Do Re Mi Fa Bi because she's the Do Re Mi Fa Bi Bugster. She was like the helper that was sort of like I guess you could say that she was essentially like the tutorial girl in the game that would give like that would just tell you how to play the game and stuff like that. And that's all she wanted to do. Like she just wanted to be that character. She wanted to make people happy and help them play Do Re Mi Fa Bi. She never wanted to do anything evil. She doesn't want to hurt people. Because like something I really liked about the Bugshoes is that I don't know if it was actually fully explained, but when Parad explained why they did what they did, it was essentially on the lines of like we're a video game enemy AI. We hate humans and we attack humans because you programmed us to. I thought that was really interesting because like this show did the video game motif so well. Like it did video games such a service. Like one of my favorite parts is when how like Kuruto explained how he was able to like redo like the Hypertech Gasha because like the Hypertech Gasha was essentially like a game genie and like it had backup data in it, and that's how he was able to like resave. That's how he was able to like make the Gasha again. And like this show was just like to me the best thing about it was just how well it did the motif. Don't get me wrong, it's a good show, but how it did the motif was fantastic.
Oh yeah,
The
it
main
knocked me
writer
out.
of the show, which I forget his name, but this was his first time doing a head writing position, and he wrote every single episode. By the way, he did every episode.
Yeah.
So like, and he just did such a good job. But I'll let people speak now. I'm done nerding out.
One thing I was gonna say is that I know we'll get to Dan Kuruto later, but I like that in the second and third arc that basically like Poppy was like taunting him because he was fucking locked up most of the time.
Because like which makes sense in context because like the host that allowed Poppy to live was Kuruto's mum.
Yeah.
So the reason why Kuruto cares about Poppy so much is because like she is what is left of like his mother. So
I love how you said that, by the way. His mum.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm gonna point it out every time.
All right.
Let's while we're at it, one thing I do want to say that's interesting is this show didn't introduce a well, I guess there is technically a secondary style driver with the bug visor thing.
The buckle drive and the buckle drive was Y, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't introduce like there wasn't like a beast driver, for example, like that used the motif but used it slightly differently, or a mock driver. You know what I mean? There wasn't anything like that in this series. It's fine. It's fine because I was wondering when I was watching it. I'm like, are they going to introduce like a side gimmick? Like I call them side gimmicks because they don't. There's technically the same gimmick, but they're different. Like
yeah. Like for example, like right now we have the ride watch, but we also have like the ride watches with the Beyond driver.
The future watches or whatever.
Yeah, I personally like to refer them as like the secondary gimmick.
Yeah, the secondary gimmick. That's what I mean. Like it ended up being a lot like Gaim or Foes or anything, where they like the secondary driver used the same gimmick. So the exact same gimmick, which I was fine with because X8 had enough riders that it could get away with it. I can't find the scene, and nobody's uploaded to YouTube, but I know in the X8 movie, there's a shot of all the riders transforming together, and there's like 9 or 10 of them there, and it's like a huge wide shot. Because and it's like I wish I could find it, and like the subtitles start overlapping because Stevie Neon had to put so many fucking subtitles on the screen for all the transformations.
I haven't even watched the X8 movie yet. I just haven't seen it yet.
Oh my god, the transformation scene near the end is friggin' ridiculous. How fun reading those subtitles, Lex.
Yeah, the only thing I've really seen from like the X8 summer movie was the post-credit scene with Bilt's cameo in it, which led to Heisei Generation's final. So
which is kind of a weird cameo too. But anyways, let's start talking about speaking of other writers. Let's start talking about some of the villain characters. So I want to save Dan as the last one for the first arc. Let's start talking about Peridot. Peridot was one of my favorite characters too. He was obviously a bugster. But he was more interested in playing games than taking over the world or deleting humans. I mean, that obviously was his goal. That was his goal, but he was more into games, which I thought was interesting because, you always have, in a lot of the writer shows, you always have the one character who's a little more playful, but usually they don't last super long, except maybe like Gremlin. Is it Gremlin? I can't remember his name from fucking...
Gremlin from Wizard?
Is it Gremlin, the green one who lasted near the end?
I think that's his name.
Yeah, like he's another example of one of the villains who was like more playful, and he actually lasted a while. But the playful ones actually tend to last quite a while. Usually not all the way to the end. But Peridot, what I loved is that his character had a big change, and at first when the change happened, and I'm not going to say whatever. I thought it was kind of forced, but it made sense as the episodes went on with him, because originally he only cared about games, and taking over the world / killing all humans was a kind of a side thing until more and more of the I think when Graphite died, he took the hint. that the humans are kind of dangerous. You might want to do something about it, but because he doesn't because he even though he's a villain, he's helping Emu along the way, and at first we don't know why. We don't know why he wants him to succeed, but as time goes on, we learn that he is the bugster that infected Emu. Because something we forgot to mention is all the people who can transform with the gamer drivers have to undergo a special surgery, except Emu. He's the only one who didn't undergo this surgery. So, because of that, there's no explanation for a long time of how he's able to transform. And we find out it's because he's infected with the Bugster virus. Because you can either be infected with the Bugster virus or undergo the surgery for compatibility with the drivers. So, but not getting too much into his stuff as a character. How do you guys feel about Peridot? Not only from the start, but as time went on into what he became.
I quite enjoy Parad's character. I thought he was a good villain. I don't really know how to go in depth with him because, I think you pretty much said everything that needs to be said about his progression and the reason why he exists. I guess I'll just bring up my favorite moment with him. It was basically the same. My favorite moment, with Emu, when because Parad's biggest problem, and this didn't really happen until Kronos' death. Because he's a bugster, he didn't understand the concept of death. Because death to him was just being destroyed and then just regenerating. He didn't understand the concept of actually losing your life. So when Kronos killed a bad comedic character, whatever his name was, I forget. The lovely car, yeah. When he actually managed to kill a bugster, Parad actually experienced fear for the first time, fear of death. And that was a lingering fear in him for the longest time until until Emu just decided to essentially bitch slap him awake by nearly killing him, because I think Hypermateki was actually capable of actually fully killing a Bugster, I believe. I forget. Full extent of Hypermateki's powers.
Well, here's the thing, because Emu does the fixing thing on Peridot, which actually makes him able to use a gamer driver, because bugsters can't use gamer drivers. Just on their own, they can't use them. That's kind of a rule.
Yeah, that's true.
And what Emu did at one point is made him more human, which gave him the ability to use it. And I think that's probably the underlying reason why Peridot was more afraid when he fought against Emu, because not only earlier did he realize that they can die for good, but now he's part human. He has a higher chance of dying for good than, say, some of the other bugsters. So in that fight, you could tell he was scared, because he's like, "Oh my god, I'm gonna fucking die." So and I won't be able to come back. So that's why I thought at first his switch over to becoming a good guy bugster was kind of fast. I thought it was kind of jarring, because I felt like there should have been a little bit more there than him just being when Emu brings it back to life, saying basically, "See, dying sucks, and it can become permanent, but you can help me take care of this." He just instantly kind of turns around. I mean, I like that he gets it, but I feel like there should have been something more there in terms of him coming around, because he's fucking around the whole series. He's one of the main. In the first arc, he didn't do much except try to help Emu, but in the second arc, he spends a lot of time fucking around, because by that point, he actually becomes a rider, and his rider form is actually really interesting. His first version, he can't use a driver, so he has a little holder thing that he puts his dual Gashat in. And the thing that's interesting about Peridot is early on, he's level 50, and none of the riders are even close to that. I think the highest is level 10 at that point. So no one's close to being his level. But as time goes on, the levels become less important, because as they are in games, skill is much more important than level. So, but he was when he was announced that he was level 50, I'm like, that's kind of overpowered for where we are in the show, was my thought. But I'm and then it got me worried. I'm like, this guy can take out all the riders in no time. because of his high level. So they're gonna have to get creative to beat him. They eventually did get creative, and then like when he boosts level 99, I'm like, it doesn't matter. We already have a level 99 dude. Even though you're the dude in the intro, which I like. It, by the way, I gotta say in the show, I like that they changed the villain in the intro every time.
Oh
Because,
yeah, that was cool.
That's really cool. Even though like they all kind of shared similar hairstyles, so it wasn't as obvious sometimes. But yeah, Parados was another one of those characters that had an arc, but he was important because without him, Emu can't transform essentially, and also he's kind of become a part of Emu's personality more than just a bugster, I would say, because Emu can't unlock Hyper Muteki on his own. He needed Peridot to be absorbed in his body so he could become Genius Gamer Emu, because Genius Gamer M is only the two of them together, not just Emu on his own. That's how he's able to use Hyper Muteki near the end. But yeah, sorry, I've been talking a lot about Peridot. Is there anything else you guys want to say about his character?
Well, I would just say that I didn't think his switchover was that weird because, like, fear is a powerful emotion, and being scared shitless can really change you depending on how scared shitless you are. So maybe being scared was just enough for him to realize that I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't treat human lives like just things just to be destroyed. I need to be better. I need because I don't want to die, and I finally understand that. I think having that compassion and that empathy really changed.
It could have been the shock that he realized humans don't come back to life like I do when they die. They just die. And it took him dying to realize how scary that is. And that maybe was part of the motivation of saying, I shouldn't be doing this to people. This is wrong. Because like before that, he was just like, "Man, let's play video games." Yeah, bleep, bleep, bleep. And like dying was nothing. Oh, you just use another life. People don't have other lives, until Kiryu comes back to life.
Yeah, like no, I know. I will say this. I think he was aware of that human lives are only last one, but he held that over their heads. He held it over their head to say like, I am superior to you because I'm not mortal. But the moment like he finally died, I understand how scary it was. He empathized more, and that's what changed him. He stopped viewing that like as like a thing that made him better than them.
Yeah, so, I know. It still seemed kind of quick the way it happened. I would have liked a little bit more on that, but again, the show can only do so much because it's on a budget and a time frame. So I'll take what I can get. I didn't think it hurt his character in the end. It's just something I thought I'd mention because when I first saw it, I found it jarring. So
yeah. Well, don't worry. X8 still had more budget than Ghost because if you didn't know, Ghost's budget got siphoned to Amazon's, which is why Ghost's production kind of like went down after the writer change because like its money was siphoned into Amazon's.
What was Ghost doing bad? So they started taking money away from it, or
I have no idea why Ghosts behind the scenes was so turbulent. Like, I don't know if it was ratings or the toy sales. I don't think Ghost sold bad. So it's like, because Ryder always sells better than Sentai. It always sells double of Sentai. Like, honestly, the worst rating so far for Ryder have been an episode of Geo, because Geo's ratings have been abysmal. That's all I know. So.
Yeah. I think Ghosts didn't do that well because, like, from what I heard, I don't know if you saw like the Spectre V Cinema yet, but like,
I didn't see any of the other Ghost stuff. I really need to get caught up because
so essentially, Nebcrom gets a form in that movie. That form was actually supposed to be for his own movie, but from what I heard, because how Ghost didn't sell well or something, so they had to put it in Spectres. So,
I mean, like Ghost kind of, I kind of felt when I was watching Ghost. I know we're hopping around here, but I kind of felt like when I was watching Ghost that there was some kind of production problem because, like you said, like after the first 12 episodes, you could tell things changed, and because Ghost didn't have a bad start, it had a decent start. And I thought the motif was really cool because when I first watched it, my thought was, it's kind of Halloweeny like Kiva was, because Kiva was about vampires and this one's about ghosts. I think that's kind of cool. Ghosts are cool, but you could tell the shift happened and things changed. I also just like I want to say fatigue at that point because you had series like what was I gonna say, Wizard, Gaim, Drive. These series were pushing so many rider forms that it kind of got ridiculous. Like, let's see, like Ghost had Boost, which was a powered up form. He had the one that was a separate driver. That was all the icons. That was a separate form. And then he had his ultimate form. So he had 3 power-ups. Like, you don't need on top of every other form that he has because of all the 15 icons plus extra icons. It's too much. Like that, there's too many toys.
Like let me put it this way. Ever since Gaim, they've had something called an upgrade form. So in episode 15, you'll get an upgrade form. So like for Gaim, it was Jimba Arms. For Drive, it was Dead Heat. For Ghost, it was Tokon Boost. For X8, it was a Double Action Gamer. For Build, it was a Sparkling, and for Geo, it was the Decade Armor. They had an upgrade form, and then they would get their super form. You know, like Grateful, Tajador, Fang Joker, the super form, and then the final form. So like Tokon Boost was his upgrade form.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it, like when I first noticed it during Wizard that they started doing upgrades, the upgrade thing. Ghost was one where it was just too much stuff. He has 15 icon forms. He has an upgrade. He has, and then he has, a super form that uses an entirely different driver, which uses all the icons. And then he had, what was it called? Infinite or something? I can't. No,
it was Mugen Damacy.
Mugen Damacy, which is basically was his final form. When that came into the show, I was like, why do we need another power up? Was like my thought. Like you gave because, and this was the thing because like the other big eye thing, I thought that was his ultimate form, and it was really cool. Same thing happened in Drive. Formula, I thought was going to be the ultimate form, and it looked really cool, and I wish it was because Type Tridon, I didn't like it. It looked dumb. Like I thought Formula made the most sense. I think it just they were pushing way too many toys, and that X8 because X8's like Gaim where they have kind of like a generic style gimmick. The upgrades don't seem as forced as they do in the other series because Gaim definitely had Gaim and X8 definitely had upgrades, but they weren't forced like the other show. Like they just kind of worked in gimmick. They didn't have to add something special.
But the thing about it is that rider forms are very cut and dry. Upgrade forms will appear between episodes 13 and 16. Super forms within episodes 20 and 25, and then final forms appear between episodes 30 and 40. It's pretty cut and dry how they happen, and it's pretty easy to like give them their destined what kind of form they are. So a problem now is that starting with Build, we have an upgraded super form because Rabbit Tank was Build's upgraded super form, and then Geo will have Geo Trinity, which will be his upgraded super form. It's ridiculous now. They have too many incremental upgrades. So now we have upgrade, super, upgraded super, and final form. It's getting really ridiculous in my personal opinion.
Remember when O's came out and O's didn't have a final form?
Yeah, now Puto Tira is classified as the final form because like if you actually because there are final form ride watches and the O's one is Puto Tira, not Super Tataba, Puto Tira.
I thought the director came out and said that O's doesn't have a final form and Puto Tira is just considered like a powered up form.
Yeah, that is true, but Toy has the final say. Toy and Bandai the final say. So Toy and Bandai, as far as I'm concerned, Puto Tira is O's final form, and that's represented in the toys.
I respectfully disagree because I think Super Tatoba's final form, but that's a different discussion for another time.
Yeah, no. I personally, I don't care what Oza's final form is, because to me, Tajador is so much more narratively important that I consider that to be like the sort of true final form, in my personal opinion.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Tajador was the most important form of the show. But getting back to what were we talking about? We were talking about.
Sorry,
I
like,
think we were talking about. We were talking about
Parad.
Peridot, and forms stuff like that. And I don't know. I don't think there's really much more we need to say. Riley, do you have anything more you want to say about Peridot's character?
Yeah, he was a really cool villain. I just liked his his playful nature. Like, he just he comes off like a little kid, essentially.
Yeah.
Like, but as soon as he like sees like the danger, he, like this essentially witnesses death for the first time, he starts to like grow up a little bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And while he still has that like kid nature to him, you can see he's mature now when he got redeemed. So
yeah. So there isn't much to say about Graphite. He just likes battle. He's kind of reminds me of Phoenix. That he's more concerned with trying to grow the Bugsters.
Yeah, Graphite was a really boring character. He just sort of existed. His existence felt more like a reason for Tiger and Hero to butt heads and to have more motivation than anything, other than being a character into himself. Like Graphite felt like a walking character motivator for even Parad. Like, Graphite's reason to exist was mostly just to motivate others, not really to be a character on his own, which really sucked.
Yeah,
I love Graphite's suit. I love that he's designed.
Yeah, his actor's pretty cool too. So
yeah. That's all we really have to say about Graphite, I think.
Yeah, he's kind of there.
Much, yeah,
he's kind of generic. I'm villain. But guys, let's talk about the real best character of the show, Dan Kuruto.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I am a god.
Yeah.
So what is it? Shindan Kuruto.
Yeah, that's one thing. His mugging did get kind of annoying with the wide angles, but that's about it. Other than that, I loved him.
Here's the thing: Dan Kuruto's mugging of the camera is better than most, because he does it not subtly at all.
That's true. Like, I definitely liked his mugging more than Honoree's mugging, because Honoree's mugging made me want to punch my screen.
I love what I love about Dan is at the start he's like this cool, calm, collected like game designer, and we find out, the audience finds out, that there's more to him, and that eventually we find out he's the first main villain of the show, because he's basically, the way to say him is he's kind of obsessed with his own ability to create games. I mean, he refers to himself as a god all the time, so that's why he gets all silly and wacky and shit. And I just love some of the other stuff. When he technically joins the good guy force later on, he has things like he has 99 lives. Like, that they start using that as the plot point. They're like, oh well, Dan's like, I can fight them. I got 67 lives left.
Yeah.
He starts his lives start dropping like flies. Like, it's ridiculous. But like at the start, he was more serious, and he became insane, which has made him kind of like scary as a villain. But then he got really silly. But the silliness was my favorite part of him, because it's like
it's like I love the over the top acting of this guy. Like, I know some people like got annoyed with it. It was just like, I can understand why, but like, I'm just like, this guy's a ball.
Yeah, like, it reminds me of like Tim Curry. It's why I like him so much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's just so deliciously over the top. I love it. Like, and like the actor is really cool too. Like, he loved being in character. They also his actor could speak fluent English. I kind of wish we got a moment where Kuruto just spoke fluent English out of nowhere.
Oh, he can speak fluent English?
Yeah.
Yeah, he can.
Actor who played Dan Kuruto, I'll at you on Twitter. let me interview you for this podcast. and let Lex and I'll let Lex and RyeGuy sit in because I'm sure they have important questions too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, great
I love the it's like I love the insanity that keeps built. Like it's slowly building. Like the more like especially like when he started using a dangerous zombie.
Dangerous zombie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Genom level X is my favorite suit from the show. Like that and Cronus' suit. I just love Danger Zombie's suit. It's such a great suit. I just love how just again this game this game it's so good. I even think it's a video game. No, its motif is so good, like with the video game stuff. I just love Dan's body language when he's in that suit because he does act like a fucking messed up. Like his zombie is more, I feel like, Resident Evil than like House of the Dead. But yeah.
I think one thing that made his character so unique in this, especially in the first arc, is because something that we haven't gone over the motifs too much because we were focusing on characters. But one of the things is none of the riders' health bar, which is on their chest, can't go down to 0 or you die.
Like you actually die. Like boom, you're dead.
Like Kiryu, basically, his health bar went down to 0. That's why he died. But Dan, because he's a zombie, he can't die. Like if they kill him, he just gets back up. Like, and that's crazy about his character.
Yeah, like because he's Dangerous Zombie. There's two versions of it. There's the original version where like the health gauge is cracked. Like you can't kill him. He's completely invulnerable. Like every time you kick him down, he'll just get back up. You can't kill him when he's level 10 or level X. But like once he comes back as living data, he has his health gauge back, like on the Dangerous Zombie suit, but he can again. He just keeps coming out of the Purple Mario pipe, which, by the way, I love that visual gag.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I made a joke about that on my Facebook. It was like I am like the Mario.
I want to see a video of what do you think happens while Dan Kuruto's trying to come back. No. He's underground.
Yeah.
They should make Super. I want somebody to make a hack of Super Mario Brothers and call it Super Shindan Kuruto Da.
Oh, that'd be great.
Oh, please.
That'd be awesome. I mean, somebody did a mod of the Mega Man 2 and made it Decade. So why not Dan Kuruto, right?
Really?
So,
that sounds neat.
Yeah, there's a Mega Man 2 ROM hack where you play as Decade and you have to fight the other riders. And get their powers because Mega Man. The only part that's annoying about that game is when you're charging your Buster, it does the like waiting sound the entire time, and it's kind of annoying because I like Decade's waiting sound, but I don't want to hear it at full volume when I'm trying to play a game.
Oh, yeah, because like the standby noise with the driver is like it's obnoxious. Like down.
Like, yeah. That's why I like they toned it down for the end. It's just like a little whistle sound. But anyways, but yeah, Dan Kuruto was another one of my favorite characters because of how ridiculous he was. He started off as this cool, calm, collected game dev, and he kind of still is near the end of the series because they realize they need him to keep making games so they have powers. So they kind of keep him around. And I mean, in the movies, he kind of does go back to being evil, but not really. Or movies or whatever side DVD stuff. There's so much shit for this series.
If for like the stuff that happens like during the spring, I just refer those as like the spring V cinemas. They're like
V cinemas, DVD videos, whatever.
The little short like sequel movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, which by the way, I actually did see all three of those movies. I actually did like them. Especially the Dan one with like level 1 million. Actually, my favorite thing about him being level 1 million is that Kiryu called him out saying, "You just made that number up, didn't you? Just to feel great."
Yeah, pretty much.
That's actually another thing I like. I just like the relationship he had with like Kiria.
Yeah, like Kiria, like it's it's odd. It's like I feel like that was a really odd pairing, but it was a great relationship though. It was hilarious. They had a lot of good moments, a lot of good drama too, in like the Get 'em Laser movie. So yeah.
One thing I will mention real quick about the V Cinemas or whatever is the one they had for Brave, where they bring back what's his name from Ryuki. Was fucking dark. He beats the nurses with a pipe, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, Jesus Christ, it's brutal.
Oh yeah, the one with where Oja comes back.
Yeah, Oja comes back, and like you just see you just see shadows of him just like going to town on this nurse with a pipe. I'm like, holy fuck, this is a kid show.
Yeah, well, to me, Ride is a family show to me, but whatever. And yeah, the Brave V Cinema was odd to me. Like Dan, why the hell am I calling Riley Dan? I'm sorry, I'm an idiot. Riley and me watched that like on Rabbit shit, and we both agreed that it was kind of dumb and needlessly brutal and sexualized. Because like there was a moment where like Kamen Rider Tiger was like where like you have the nurse showering, and like it was like is this an Alfred Hitchcock movie now? It's just like it was so weird.
Like I could see why this didn't make the cut in the show. I'll say that much. Why it's
Yeah.
But I will say it was very, very satisfying to watch Brave kick Oja's ass with a tiger costume, basically, or a leopard costume.
Yeah, like I actually have that gas shirt too. It's fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dan Kuroto, like without going too much more in depth, he's just like he was the main villain for the first arc, and he just becomes kind of a comic relief / ally, regular writer in the second and third arc, and I think that's okay. I actually, again, I loved his character more when he came back because he was just so ridiculous. I loved it. But yeah, so we need to talk about the other main villain though, and that's Dan's dad, and I forget his name.
Masamune.
Masamune, which the most generic Japanese name for a villain, by the way. Masamune Kuroto, or is it Masamune Dan? I can't remember.
Masamune, Dan's the family name.
Dan's that's so confusing.
Yeah, I like to us Westerners, it's just odd. It's
yeah.
How did you guys feel of him as a villain? Because I honestly, he kind of came in a left field for me.
I liked him.
I mean, I loved him. I thought he was super threatening. I thought his god complex was a lot more scarier than Karuto's, because like I feel like he was a lot more sick in the head.
I just saw him as generic. I'm powerful bad guy. Honestly, he was threatening, but he was threatening because he was overpowered. He basically could use the world though, so that's why he was scary. He was basically Dio without the charm.
Oh, okay.
Well, I haven't seen JoJo, so I can't comment on that. I just really liked him because, like, he was just really threatening, and like I loved the actor. Like he was hammy in a different way than like Karuto was. He was hammy more in like the a psychotic way, I guess I can put it.
Yeah,
and like one of my like maybe I'm just very easily pleased with villains like this, but one of my favorite moments when he just started like singing a nursery rhyme while chasing after like one of them. I know that's very generic. Ooh, look at him, he's creepy because he's singing a nursery rhyme, but I don't know, I liked it.
That actor is also a really damn good singer. Because if you guys didn't know, like he sung like both Get 'Em's theme and also Kronos' theme as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did Wish in the Dark, which is Get 'Em's theme, and Justice, which is Kronos' theme. So he also did a cover of one of Build's insert songs. So forget what it was. It was for Cross. Burning My Soul. That was it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
By the way,
it was a cover that was actually released months before the song itself actually came out. So
really, I didn't know that. But
but like I really like Masamune. I don't know. Like I just liked his presence. I liked his character. Like I just liked how insane he was. And like I love the Kronos' suit. I love his powers. I just kind of like that really overpowered, threatening villain. But the whole point about it is as long as he can be beaten, I feel like it that's all that really matters. So like like you become less overpowered if you can actually be beaten. I mean, but I understand that that has a reverse effect of making Hyper Muteki overpowered, but like it's kind of in the nature of it because like Hyper Muteki is sort of like X-Aid's Supersonic or like his invincibility Rainbow Star. Like he can be invincible for like a prolonged amount of time and stuff like that.
Yeah, and like how we mentioned earlier, it's the Gashat's kind of more of like a game shark or an action replay.
Yeah, a game genie. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
I never thought of it that way because I always thought that Gashat was weird because I'm like, why is it on top of the driver? I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But I don't know. Like, I liked the suit because it's green. Even though it wasn't my favorite suit in the series, and I like green. And his upgrade, it was just gold, and I was like, it's kind of generic. Like,
yeah, like Game Day as Kronos was not my favorite form.
And I hated that he could both use, like, he could both stop time and reset time. He basically becomes the villains from part 3 and part 4 of JoJo's combined because he can stop time and go back in time.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, Masamune wasn't aware he could reset it until he accidentally did it, and like he never did it again. I feel like he only could do it once, so I don't think it was that bad. Like,
and they found, that was because like they found a way around his reset. So
yeah,
I love that they just gave Hyper Muteki a save function.
Yeah, pretty much. Looks quick, guys, start looking in people's eyes. Do you see Killer Queen third bomb bites the dusto? Sorry, I'm a JoJo fan, so I have to make that reference.
Okay, it's okay.
Also, he can stop time. Come on.
Yeah, no, he can literally pause the world. Like, also, I just realized that you could actually view the save function in Hyper Muteki as a save state, like on an emulator.
Oh my god, it is.
Oh yeah.
It's so video game themed.
I know, I love it.
So we pretty much said our piece on villain. Also, the not true villain shows up at one point and is gone pretty quickly. They talked about him early on, and then they brought him up later on. I'm like, the fuck? He showed up during the graphite fight later on in the series. That's just like,
yeah,
what?
He was. That guy was that guy was actually getting Davis from XA True Ending.
Like okay, yeah, because the thing about Game Day is that he was the final boss of Kamen Rider Chronicle, because Kronos is supposed to be the main character of Kamen Rider Chronicle. That's why Kronos is so powerful. He is so powerful so he can beat the final boss in Chronicle. Kuruto made it that way because being Kronos was supposed to be an award to a ride player once they met a goal, I believe. So yeah, and like like once you collect all like the gacha trophies and you have another Chronicle gacha, you can turn into Kronos, which is what Tiger did. He actually got the award.
I was gonna say I actually love how technically Taiga's ultimate form is Kronos, because he uses it not just there, but he uses it in one of the V cinemas or whatever.
He used it in the Brave Snipe movie, and he actually used the Bugle Driver's over so he could actually pause. Because like Kronos with the Gamer Driver is nowhere near as powerful. Like he has the same stats, he just can't pause anything, which is kind of lame.
I also thought
in
it
my
was interesting
personal
he had
opinion.
to use. I also thought it was interesting he had to use 2 of the Kamen Rider Chronicle Gashats to make it work in the
Yeah, because
graphic.
I believe the rules is that you have to have your own, and then you have to use the Gashat in which you won everything on. So yeah, like so he took Nico's Gashat because Nico actually won the Gashat Trophy challenge, I believe, of Chronicle, whatever they called it.
Yeah.
And so he took Nico's Chronicle Gashat, put it into the game driver along with one he took from someone. I forget who he took it from. And then I think he took it from actually I think he took the Master Gashat from Master Moon, I think. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've seen X-Aid. I watched that episode while it was airing. So yeah, cause that was nearly a year ago. Like I swear to God, like if there's one thing that makes me feel old, it's Kamen Rider, because like once you realize how long ago a certain show was, you feel so old. Like I remember watching Drive, and Drive started in 2014. I'm just like, oh God.
I know, like I started watching Kamen Rider when Foes started. Like it wasn't the first one I finished, but it was the first Kamen Rider season I saw. So and that came out in 2012.
Yes.
2011.
I started watching Kamen Rider while O's was airing. So yeah. And like the worst part is that the GQ driver really makes me feel old because they actually put the year the Rider Show came out. So when I like put in the Cougar Watch and see 2000, I'm like, oh dear God.
I wasn't alive yet. I'm kidding.
I was like 4 in the year 2000.
I was 12.
I was 4, but I didn't turn 5 until November of that year.
Yeah. I turned 4 in 2000. So.
But yeah, it's let's just move on now and talk about the plot a little bit. Obviously, there's 3 arcs to this show. The first arc was more, I don't know what you call it. I guess you'd call it the Gem arc, because it was really like Gem was the main villain of it, and it was the weakest arc. I agree with you there, Lex, what you said earlier. But I think it was weakest because it had to establish the characters. The writers didn't really work together unless they were forced to, like with Dragon Knight Hunter Z. And like we didn't see like the real potential of the threat until Dan killed someone, essentially, and killed Kiryu, I guess. So and also it probably still had the like you theorized, the writers from Ghost were still probably writing at that point, so the more sillier aspects of the show were being played up more. I don't think it's a bad introduction to the show, but it's definitely the weakest part of the show. So I've thought of doing a little sideshow called Slow Start, where I talk about shows that have a slow start, and this would be a candidate for that series, because X8 gets good partway through that arc. Essentially, that's when it starts getting good, in my opinion. What did you guys think of the first arc, though?
Okay. Well, first I'll point out that it's less that X8 had the Ghost Rider, because because again X8 had one writer throughout the entire show. One guy wrote every single episode. I think it was less the writer and the producer, but it was more so the execs at Toei. Because there was this period of time where Toei where every single production they did was really juvenile and really silly, and I really have no idea. I think it was because at the time parents were going against Toei, saying they don't want their kids watching stuff like Kamen Rider at 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday, which is why they actually changed the time slot from 9 to 9:30, so Toei could actually make Sentai and Rider a little more. I wouldn't say hardcore, but they could make it a little more family friendly than just for 5-year-old kids. But this was during the time when Rider was still airing at 7:30. So they sort of had to appeal to the parents, the soccer mothers in Japan. They were basically saying, I don't want my kid watching this at 7:30 in the morning, or whatever they were saying. It's really weird. But the first arc, it wasn't bad, but it was definitely slow. Mm-hmm. And one of the main problems that they were introducing a new Gashat every episode, and it was a bit much. Like
And
they
I
were
love-
really pushing in the toys.
I like that they really pulled back in the second and third arc on introducing a ton of gadgets. Like again, I see what you mean, where it kind of felt like Bandai or Toei were really pushing certain values, like promoting more toys, because Ghost, like I said before, Ghost really fucking pushed the toys, like really, like to the point where I gave up collecting the stuff for Ghost because I'm like, I'm gonna have to spend a small fortune to get all this shit, because we have to pay a premium because we have to import it from Japan, like to the point where like a single like icon could cost like $35. Like it's ridiculous how expensive it can get. And like they just really pushed the toys in Ghost, which was hilarious because after what you told me with happens with Amazon's, where they took money and gave it to that, they really must have wanted people to buy the toys then, because like, and it makes me miss the days of Kamen Rider where you'd have something like Deno where all the forms are on the belt except for the ultimate form. They didn't start getting crazy with the toys until Kiva, and Kiva unfortunately didn't do very well in the toy sales because of that.
Okay.
Yeah, Kiva did not have very good sales in terms of toys. And that's part of the reason why Decade got cut in half, partially because they wanted to change the scheduling so that Sentai and Rider didn't happen at the same time every year, but also because Kiva didn't do that well, so they lowered the budget of Decade.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I've noticed that because if you haven't, like I have noticed it, but like in an attempt to separate Rider and Sentai, they made Sentai a lot more for kids. Like starting with like Tokija, they really started to make Sentai a lot more for kids, which is one of the reasons why I'm just not into Sentai that much anymore. Because like I used to love Sentai. I used to prefer it over Kamen Rider, but now I prefer Rider because Rider's a little more. I wouldn't say adult. But a lot more for
I'd say
families.
Rider's like the big kid show, and Sentai's more for younger children. I mean, that's not a bad thing. There are good seasons of Sentai, but they have been definitely more pushed towards more younger children.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I'm just not into it. Like again, like Tokija is not the worst thing ever, but I didn't really like it. I hate Ninja. Jiboja's okay. Q Ranger is awful. Lupat, I need to watch all of, but I think it's pretty okay. And then I just recently watched the first episode of Ryusoulger. It's promising, but it still has that weird platitude thing about making a kid feel good and hopes and dreams and stuff like that. And like, remember, the first episode of Ryusoulger has been more brutal than any other recent Sentai post Kyoryuger, and it's because I think they have a new director and a new writer for it, which I think really helps. Because I'm sorry, the problem with stuff like the Ninja is that they got the guy that wrote, because Kento Shimiyama was the filler guy, and they got a guy that wrote only filler episodes to write the Ninja, and that really backfired on them because Ninja had no fucking story. It was mostly just ridiculous bullshit every episode, which really showed because this guy only wanted to write filler.
That was one of the many causes that like made me because if you don't know, like near the end of 2015, we start my interest in superhero time was killed for a while because of we had Ghost and Ninja were airing alongside each other. It's like I wasn't enjoying those, so Go-Go 5 was getting subbed at that time, and watched Go-Go 5. That was really damn good. It ended up being my favorite Sentai of all time now. So
yeah, not to go too off rails, but one thing I'll say is I've heard that if Ryusoulger, that's what the new one's called, Ryusoulger, right?
Yeah.
I heard if that one doesn't do good, that they're thinking of stopping Super Sentai. Like they've considered stopping or maybe making the next season the last one. So I think Toei knows that something's going on with Sentai and they need to fix it. So that's probably why they did Dinosaur so quickly again, because they needed to make a profit. Because if you look at the profit from the last few seasons, Zyuohger did okay, but it underperformed. As did Ninja, and what's the one after Zyuohger again? The space one? What's it called again?
Q Ranger.
Q Ranger also underperformed. So they have like 3 seasons that underperformed, and they're now just like, we need to do something popular so that it sells. And if this one doesn't sell, we're going to give it one more season, then we're done. Which
because like if you didn't know, Lupat actually did worse than Ninja toy wise. So Lupat is currently the worst selling Sentai. So the funny thing is, Lupat actually had better ratings than the previous 3 years.
And the toys look cool, which is hilarious that it did so terrible. it in the toy sales. Like, but
yeah,
it is
because
what
like
it is.
they were trying to do something like Tokujo where like the mecha were the main gimmick. You actually put the mecha on the changer to make sounds, and that worked very well for Tokujo. But I also think it worked well for Tokujo because it was trains, and Japan loves trains, which is one of the reasons why Tokujo did so well. Tokujo was like it didn't overperform Kyoto. Kyoto is still the best selling Sentai toy line in the past decade, but Tokujo did really good toy sale wise. So, and I think that's one of the reasons why Toy decided, like, well, because it sold so well, the whole for younger kids thing would work. I think because like Sentai is failing for multiple reasons. Not only because I feel like they made Sentai more juvenile, but because like I think it's just the toys. Like I don't know why, but mecha toys from Bandai have just gotten worse recently. They don't really transform anymore. They're all parts formers, which is okay, but it's not very fun to play with, in my personal opinion.
Well, guys, we're getting off rails here. Let's bring it back to Xaid. We could
sorry.
probably have a separate. I think we should have a separate podcast discussion about Sentai at some point. Probably when
I love that.
I need to get caught up on Sentai. Like I need to watch the rest of Zyuohger. I need to watch the other series and get caught up, and then maybe at some point we'll have a podcast about that because I feel like there's a lot we could talk about when it comes to Sentai. But back to Xaid, I have to agree that the first arc was a little slow. It wasn't terrible, but you could tell they were pushing toy sales. Like because I think the other thing is they wanted to get a lot of the forms out quickly so that when they introduced Kamen Rider Paradox, they had a real threat to fight. You know what I mean? Because when they introduced Paradox, he was level 50, and the strongest rider they had at that point was level 10. So obviously there's a power struggle there. And then I think the best part about the first arc is Dan, because he just makes that arc.
And also to be technical about it, technically it was level 20 because like when Emu went to double action game, when he separated himself, that was level 20.
Right. Sorry, I forgot of it.
It's okay.
But yeah, the first arc was really just to set things up, and I think the next arc is really when things got shifted up because the main villain was dead, but the bugsters are still around. And I can't remember did Chronicle get introduced then, or was it introduced in the third arc? I'm trying to remember when exactly.
Chronicle was introduced in the second arc because that's when the Genom Corporation started selling the Gashats and people started becoming ride players.
Yeah,
and because at the time Chronicle was under control by the Bugsters, and then once Masamune became the main villain, he started to control Chronicle. So. Yeah, and and Chronicle was part of him trying to be a god because like he could control people's lives and stuff like that. Like he could choose whether someone came back to life or not. That was part of Masamune's god complex.
Yeah, and the second arc was really about now you've got these rider powers. Let's put them in the hands of regular people and see what happens. And that's like where you start going. Well, now you're giving people who have no experience. The keys to basically the powers, and also telling them, if you want some special power-ups, take out a Kamen Rider and you can get their power-ups. Like I think at one point early on, like some ride players beat up Emu to take his Gashats. So and
like one of the matches is taking like the Gashicon key slasher and actually used it for a bit, but like I don't think he could actually use it properly because he didn't know what the hell he was doing.
And also that's when the bugsters start becoming a little more vicious. That's when Peridot starts taking things more seriously, and you start to see who is Emu really, and he starts taking control of him sometimes and whatnot, and to further his own plans. I mean, Emu also made the mistake of making Peridot part human so that he could use the gamer driver and level up to level 99, which, by the way, I love his level 99 form. Perfect Knockout is really cool. It's one of my favorite designs of the show. But But yeah,
Yeah. But by the way, like, did you like Maximum Mighty X? Because like a lot of people said it was like the power armor from Mega Man X. So whatever.
yeah,
it was
that's
called,
kind of what. See, here's the thing. Like, the whole Mighty Action X thing reminded me of two things. It reminded me of Mega Man X and Mighty Number 9, which is good and bad. But
yeah, like
and so I felt like the writing staff was like, let's reference Mega Man, but let's make it a little more subtle, because I got the Ride Armor vibe too. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh my god, I'm like, this is a Mega Man reference.
yeah,
but it
yeah,
looked. I
like,
didn't like it that much. I'll say Maximum Mighty X. I didn't really like that much.
yeah, the Maximum Mighty X, or Maximum Gamer, I didn't really like it because, like, one, the suit was huge for one thing, and
Yeah.
I personally, I don't like it when they make super forms tanks. Like, that's one of the problems I had, like, with Magnet States. It was like it was a tanky
Yeah.
super form, and I didn't care for that. I love it when super forms are like sleek and powerful, like Tajador or Grateful Damashi.
Formula is another one. It's kind of bulky, but it's not as bulky.
Oh yeah, like I do like Formula C. The only thing
I just love some fucking race cars coming out of his chest.
Yeah, like I thought that was a bit ridiculous, but I still liked it, and I love the Formula jingle. It's so good.
Yeah. Full formula. Sorry, had to say that. But yeah, this arc was kind of more about moving things along, because then you've got Poppy, who becomes a rider, but she's also been reprogrammed, I guess, to be an evil bugster again until she gets fixed or reprogrammed by Emu to be good again. But then it really goes into his character in that arc about, like, who is Emu? Why can he transform? Because they finally start questioning. Kiryu questioned early on in the first arc, be like, how the hell are you able to transform? You haven't undergone the surgery. And then he finds out the reason why. And we don't find out until this arc. We find out Emu's bugster is Peridot. That's why he's able to transform. But I think, like, it almost feels like the series is coming to an end in this arc, and then just when that's about to happen, they introduce Kronos, which I think was perfect, and that kind of was the end of the second arc and start of the last arc.
Yeah,
because Kronos was the big bad. As much as I think he's kind of generic, he was the big bad. But as for the second arc, how do you guys feel in total about that arc? Like, do you think? I felt like it raised the stakes and made things a lot more serious.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's when the story really started to pick up fully, and we learnt more. And, like, I feel like the Bugsters definitely they definitely took the spotlight during that, because, like, you know, because Karuto was really the main baddie for, like, the first arc, but then, like, the actual monsters of the week became the main villains, which was nice. You know.
Yeah. It was kind of cool in that way that they kind of the main monsters kind of took the monster of the week, as you say, kind of took over and became, just because the main villain's gone doesn't mean all the other guys are gone. Essentially, which I thought that was a good thing. But of course, you know, the main villain did eventually show up with Kronos. But Riley, what do you think?
What do I think
of the second arc? Yeah.
It was really good. Yeah, I just like how the thing. This is where I feel like the stakes really got, you know, high. Like, and also on a side, but it's like I love actually the concept of, like, the ride player. Like the ride players. It's kind of the reason. Well, one of it's like actually the reason I decided to use, like, rider the ride player in my ride player for my videos. It was because of Gokai Platinum. This YouTuber I knew. She's a trans. She has her own series that's like, you know, Let's Play Kamen Rider Chronicle. It basically focuses around you know, the lives of ride players. So yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, because I was gonna say, do you like the ride players because you are one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she. No, that was because of no, it was because of her. I decided, you know what, maybe this could work. It's like I can. This could be my like first form or some shit. You know, it's like, yeah.
Also, Gokai Platinum, Gokai Gray team up when?
Oh well, I can maybe I can put in a good word.
I'm kidding.
I
I need to watch it first. I haven't seen much Gokai Platinum stuff, so but yeah, I like yeah, definitely this was the arc that raised the stakes. Then we got the final arc where the stakes had been raised and things got more serious. This is the arc where Peridot turned over a new leaf because he realized that death was a real thing that could happen to him, and he needs to worry about that a little more. It was also the arc that introduced the how serious Kamen Rider Chronicle is. The fact that it could change the one who becomes the winner of Kamen Rider Chronicle technically can change aspects of life was kind of interesting. Because like at that point, if you had told me that in the early part of the series, I'm like, yeah, whatever, that you can't do that. But as time went on and the gashats and the games and stuff got more complex, I started to believe like how big this thing is. And I think that was the perfect build up for the final arc. Also, Taiga's character really grows in this arc. Hero grows a little bit because he, even though he betrays everybody, he does come back, and he basically takes his pride as a doctor over what he wants. So, because he saves Taiga, basically, he performs emergency surgery on him. And they all think, oh, he's going to screw up on purpose because Masamune told him to. And he's like, nope, I'm a doctor first. They saved his life. Which is nuts to me.
Something I did like is that eventually time went on. Like I was afraid at the start of the show that Emu's like philosophy on being a doctor was not going to change, because it is so easy to have the goody two shoes main rider to always be the one whose philosophy and way of life is the correct one, and for the secondary riders like more hardened way to be the one that's supposed to be challenged. But no, Emu did start thinking a little more logically, and like Hero did start thinking more with like his heart. They both learned from each other. Like Emu could actually go and destroy the bugster and then worry about the patient's innocuous problem of the day later, instead of worrying about the innocuous problem of the day right then and there, which was a problem. I really didn't like at the start how he seemed to only care about whether the patient was going to get a girlfriend rather than his actual physical health. That was annoying, in my personal opinion. Like, if you care so much about someone's emotions, why didn't you become a counselor or a psychiatrist instead of a doctor? Like, I just personally didn't get it.
I mean, one thing I'll say is, really, when it comes to goody two-shoes riders, the perfect example I can give for that is Gentaro from Foes, because basically he's gonna friend the shit out of you until you become his friend, kind of thing. Like that. Those are the kind of cool characters that I think would those are the kind of character. That's how you make a goody two shoes character. It also probably helps. Part of the reason why I like Foes is because people who worked on Gurren Lagann were involved in it, but it's because drills and stuff. And Gurren Lagann's my favorite anime or whatever. But besides the point.
I understand. Like Gentaro, while like he was just very friendly and very open, and he just really wanted to make friends, and there's nothing wrong with that. But he also was actually a bad boy. Like when I originally watched Forza, because I wasn't a fan of it for the longest time. Now I'm very calm about it. I want to actually go and rewatch Forza and go, like I actually want to see what I missed, because I was very. I think it was because like O's was so good. Like, and I was very blind at the time, and like I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't like Forza so much. Like now I can look back and go, I understand why Forza was the way it was. Forza was a direct response to the tornado Japanese earthquake. Forza needed to be this happy. It needed to be this hopeful for the Japanese kids and Japanese people. I understand it.
Mhm.
So like Forza was not a bad show. I was
Yeah.
just a very grumpy, edgy teenager,
Yeah,
essentially.
I will say, I know this is not a side tangent, but when I was first getting into Toku, like I was watching Sentai and Foes, I decided it was going to be the first show I watched weekly. My buddies, because I joined the Tokusatsu Corner after, they were like, they hated the design. They hated a lot of the stuff from it. But the moment they saw Chainsaw Leg in the first episode, they were like, I think we're gonna like this show.
Yeah, Chainsaw Leg was pretty awesome. Like
They get like a lot of naysayers were like,
You-
okay, Chainsaw Leg is when I was sold.
yeah, like yeah, it's like I really want to go watch. I don't think Forza is going to be my favorite. So I definitely will be able to go look back and watch it and go, you know what, this was a fine show. Why was I so mad again?
It's one of my favorites. It's obviously I used to rank it a lot higher than other shows, and it's not as high anymore because better shows like Gaim have come out and whatnot. But it's still highly recommend. I rewatched it. I watched it a second time with my brother because my brother watches Kamen Rider basically through me until he watched RyeGuy on his own because I haven't seen RyeGuy yet. But I showed him O's as his first show, and then he's like, let's see the next rider. And he's like, I don't know how I feel about this. And then when he watched all Foes all the way through with me, he's like, you know what? As much as I, complained at the start, that was a dang good series. And I'm glad we stuck through it. I'm like, see, now let's not watch Wizard. That's what I said next.
Yeah, I mean, like, I need to rewatch Wizard too. Like, I just remember
Yeah.
going, Wizard's okay. It's completely mediocre.
It's so slow, and there's too many episodes. Anyways, back to X8. Riley, it sounds like you've been trying to say something. Go ahead.
You guys were like so caught up in like this conversation before I forgot where we were.
We were talking about we were talking about Emu's character by the third arc, and that what he did wasn't a goody two shoes anymore.
Yeah, like for me, yeah, it's like going back on that, like for me, like the best example for Ryder when it came to like a goody two shoes is Coda from Gaim, because like like a lot of the stuff that like whenever something happened to him, it affected him. He had his ideals, but they were challenged by other people like Kaito, Michi, Takatora, Ryoma, and yeah, just he had so much people. He had people around him that challenged him, and over time he grew up. So
yeah,
exactly.
Like, and that's why I think like his character arc is so important, and that the way it ended up in the show by this arc was important. And like I said, like all the characters kind of grew in that way, like except for Kiryu, because Kiryu kind of just shows up and he kind of like fucks with the villain's plan so Hyper Muteki could get in Emu's hands again. But Hiro and Taiga had a lot of growth in this last arc too, which I thought was really good. I mean, Taiga grew a lot in the previous arc, but it really, really showed in this arc. The Hiro's betrayal notwithstanding, because I thought that was really dumb, especially since he didn't make a big deal out of his girlfriend being dead in the first arc. So I mean,
he really had no reason to switch over to Kronos' side.
He didn't, and I know why they did it. They did it so he could have a redemption of some kind and become more.
It was basically to do it was to do like shows do. I noticed like certain like shows do this whole like betray like fake betray for the sake of like for like this reason, but I think like Drive did this better with Mach. My personal opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, Kiryu betrayed them technically. Like they could have just had that betrayal and be the one betrayal in the show.
That was handled a lot better than Heroes, because like it's when Emu reprogrammed him, he's just like he pushes him and is like, I don't want. It's like, are you kidding? I'm gonna beat your ass, and he just goes. It was pretty obvious from like what he was was a lie, but
Yeah.
it still made more sense. He
Yeah.
wanted to get closer to Masamune, and just
And again, I think they did it just to give Hiro some kind of redemption, but that he didn't need, because in the second arc, he starts seeing things Emu's way. So he starts seeing, that the patient is important. As much as he's teaching Emu about surgery and stuff, he's learning things from him. And the point that you really see it is when he takes Mighty Action X away from Emu. He's like, you're not fit to work to protect people right now. And he goes himself. You could tell, like, looking at him, like, and the way he looks at the gash out, he's almost like he's like, can I do this? Can I protect people with just this? And it kind of sucks. I wish he really had transformed into X8.
It would have been nice just seeing Hiro's body language in the X8 suit. So
kind of like what they did in SPD when
Sky became Red Ranger. Yeah,
Sky became Red Ranger. Like that. Yeah.
Like, actually, what I'm reminded of is like a moment in Dio when Tsukasa turned into Ghost. Like, just seeing Tsukasa's aloof body language in a ghost suit was just so bizarre, because I am so used to Takeru's, like, no real unique body language in that suit. Just the more, I don't know how to describe Takeru's body language in the suit, but like, it was just very unique to see that sort of more aloof, I don't give a shit body language in the ghost suit. It was so nice, because like, I hate Takeru so much. Yeah.
But yeah, like this was, I feel like the last arc definitely was the redemption arc for a lot of characters. And I mean, technically Taiga has more stuff in like the DVD or V Cinema stuff, but because he still feels guilty at that point about what happened. I think he feels even more guilt when Hiro betrays. Maybe that's partially why they did it, to make him feel more guilty, because like it's been looming over him the entire series that he's the reason why Hiro's girlfriend died. Like, he blames himself 100%. And it's that might be the other reason why Hiro sort of did the deal with the devil thing, to turn against them, probably to make Taiga feel worse, is what they wanted. But I don't know. This is where he probably, out of all the characters, I feel like Taiga had the most development coming at this point, because like him and Nico are trying to get all the things, but you can see that he's like hesitant in some points because he doesn't want her getting hurt, and he doesn't want he would rather just do this alone, because if he did this alone, no one else would have to get hurt. That's essentially what it comes down to. And I think he realizes that he can accept help from other people if he needs to. Anything you guys want to add about Taiga's character in this arc?
No, I don't think so.
Did I cover all the bases?
Yeah, we seem to have done that. So
yeah. So essentially, there's not much more after that. They beat the bad guy. Show over, essentially, at that point. Well, I mean, there's more to it than that, but I don't want to get too spoilery on people who haven't watched it all the way through, even though we've already spoiled stuff like characters dying and whatnot. But I want to move on to the motif of this series. So let's talk about the suits, starting with X8. What do you guys think of the X8 costumes?
I love I do love the suit designs. The level 1 suits are hilarious, and I love them. They're so frumpy.
I like that they brought back the cast off idea from Kabuto, essentially. Yeah. But I love that, like in Kabuto, they basically just fucking go past it after a certain point, because nobody cares about it.
I kind of guess they would do that at some point. I just didn't know when. So.
Yeah, like I sort of saw one from was like, oh, that's neat. They're barely going to use them by episode 15, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, exactly. What was your guys' favorite suit of the base forms?
Of the base forms, base suits, Genom. I'm just looking for like black and purple and red color schemes.
Just
so
like
I love that suit.
I think black just goes with just goes well with anything. It's like I just love like the black and purple on the suit.
Yeah, I gotta say Snipe for reasons I said earlier. I just like the design of Snipe's level up form. But what about the upgrades? Like let's
level 3.
Yakusho robots, Doremi
Fa Beat, Jet Combat, Giri Giri Chambara, Shakaviki Sports,
and
my
Dangerous
favorite
Zombie too as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Then again, Level X is my favorite of those suits, because I love that suit so much. I want that figure art.
Yeah.
But we're talking about the level. We're talking about the level 3s. I really like Doremi Fa Beat. I just he's just he's just a DJ Knight. What's not to love about that?
It's just too bad it was underutilized at a point. Like, I mean, he used it a lot when other people had upgrades, and that was his only option. But like, because for a while, him and like Hero and Taiga had to share the level 50 Gashat because it was both their things.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, speaking of like level 3 for Brave, my favorite part of that was like you know how like Hero knew nothing about video games, and like Emu was like just knew how Doremi for Beat worked because he knows about rhythm games. My favorite part of like Hero learned how to be good at it because he knows CPR. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite of the level 3s is probably laser Giri Giri Chambara.
Yeah, Giri Chambara is really cool.
It's bulky, but like it's so I don't know. It works to its advantage. Like, you know.
I think ultimately of the upgrades, I have to give it to Dangerous Zombie, like because like I mean if we want to just stick to level 3s, 5s, or whatever, Dragon Knight Hunter Zed. I think.
That
absolute favorite.
I like the Dragonite Hunter forms. Like, I think it looks better with like all the armor together, because otherwise, X8's just wearing like a big dragon mouth on his body.
Yeah.
I do like how they just traded around for a little bit. I really wish Kyria got to use it, like, just the entire armor.
Wait, guys, we forgot the best upgrade form, Juju Burger.
Oh,
okay, I love that Gashat. That episode to me was both good and bad. I love the start when he first transforms. I love like the wide-eyed reactions of everyone around him. So I'm just like, Ryder does this so often now. I just get kind of sick of it. Like, can the monsters be good guys? That episode was like the epitome of like that kind of thing, Ryder, and like it was just, to me, I found it annoying. That's
because they introduced somebody else who could make Gashats.
That I didn't like the episode was from, but that episode did also introduce, like, hey, like there are bugsters that aren't really bad people. It's like that's
and keep in mind, this is before we knew Poppy was a bugster.
Yeah,
I think she had mentioned it, but we didn't really pay attention to that.
Yeah. I hated that episode because it was just really obnoxious, but that aspect of it was kind of nice.
I just love the form that he's got ketchup and mustard on.
Yeah.
He also has roller skates.
Yeah,
that's nice.
Behold, riders on roller skates.
God damn it. And then we talked about briefly about Dragon Knight Hunter Zed. I like that, like, if one of them used it, he couldn't control it, because it was really a multiplayer game. And I love that basically it was them making a reference to Monster Hunter, because that's basically
it was essentially a Monster Hunter game. It was pretty neat. Yeah, because each Gashat was like a genre. XA was platformers, Brave was RPGs, Snipe was it was either first person shooters or something like Contra, either one of those, and then Laser was like Excite Bite.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got like Gekiso Robots, which is basically just like Rock'em Sock'em
A mecha
Robots.
game.
Yeah,
like
mecha
a mecha game.
game.
Yeah, like, and then Don't Remember Beat is a rhythm game, like Rapper to Rapper. Jet Combat is basically like a flight. I just think of Top
It's a
Gun on the
shmup.
NES.
I think it's a shmup. I think
Okay.
Jet Combat's technically a shmup, and then like you've got like
Giri Giri Chambara, which Giri Giri Chambara is a hack and slash game, I believe.
yeah, and then you've got like, and of course, Dangerous Zombies, basically just Resident Evil.
Yeah, it's a survival horror game. Then we have what's next? Okay, so Juju Burger was like a cooking game, so it reminded me of like Cooking Mama, or like those really shitty food games and like the iToy compilations on the PlayStation
You know what
2.
you know what it made me think of? It made me think of Overcooked. Have you guys ever played that? That
No,
game,
I never heard of that.
Overcooked is a party cooking game, but like you have to communicate with the people you're playing. I'll show you guys like a let's play I did with some friends where we're yelling at each other trying to like cook stuff. But yeah, like that's what my first thought was, because I had flashbacks to the burger levels in that game, because everybody has to have like a job, and in the middle of the kitchen it splits apart part way. So like if you're not on the right side, like the meat is only on one side, so you can't cook meat if you're sitting over here, kind of thing. So it's one of those games where they really fuck around with like where it's basically you have to cook in like situations that would never happen, like on an iceberg that's splitting, shit like that. So it's a really interesting game, and that kind of gave me flashbacks, and I saw Juju Burger.
Night of Safari is like Zoo Tycoon, essentially.
Essentially, it's also the silliest looking.
Double Money Action X is basically just a co-op Super Mario game. It's basically just that, a co-op platforming game, which those are a dime a dozen. Let's see, what else do we have? We have okay, Tattle Fantasy is more, I think, like a tactical role-playing game. Like it's more like that, a more like in-depth. Bang Bang Simulations is it's a simulation game.
Yeah.
Exactly. Maximum Mighty X is
it's like Super Mario World, kind of. It's like the next evolution.
Like sort of like something more like Mega Man X. Kamen Rider Chronicle was basically an MMORPG, which I like.
Let's not forget Perfect Puzzle and Knockout Fighter. Which was
a puzzle game, obviously, and Knockout Fighter was a fighting game, obviously. Like that's pretty cut and dry.
And I'll be remiss to mention that later on in one of the V cinemas or whatever they're called, there was Knockout Fighter 2, which is basically Street Fighter 2. So
does that mean Knockout Fighter was fighting Street?
Knockout Knockout Fighter was Fighter Knockout.
just like overall. Tokimeki Crisis was a dating simulator, which I found to be hilarious.
By the way,
so that just makes me think of Honey Pot.
Let's just put the brakes on a little bit. The way Kamen Rider Peridot and Kamen Rider Poppy look. What are your guys' thoughts on those suits?
Okay, if we're talking about his level 50 forms, Knockout Fighter is my favorite of the two, but I do like the Puzzle Gamer. And then Knockout, and then like Perfect Knockout is an amazing suit. I love that suit.
It's a perfect knockout of a suit.
Yeah. And then Poppy's suit I like. I don't know, like it's basically just if Poppy's appearance was a rider suit, then that's okay. I like it.
I think it's adorable. I love it.
Yeah, but though, like, maybe this is weird, but I always find it weird when like a male suit actor is like in a female character is playing a female character, because like Poppy suit actor was someone Fujioka, and he does a lot of like pink. He did a lot of like Pink Rangers in the 90s. So yeah, that stuff like that I just find to be weird. I mean, I understand, you know, like you have to get the best actor for the roles. I'm not complaining. It's just weird to me. It's like you're acting so cutesy, and it's a man in that suit. It's just
I
like
wonder,
nothing against men that act like that. I just find it odd.
I wonder if like Kamen Rider Nadeshiko's suit actor was a dude, because that would be really awkward and weird. In that case,
Nadeshiko, I think that was an actual woman.
yeah.
I think.
Because I mean, one of her main attacks is hip attack, which is basically let me hit you with my ass.
Yeah.
But yeah, in my opinion, Perfect Puzzle looks like a fucking owl. So like, I always thought it
yeah.
was
Well,
cool.
well, his head is a Puyo Puyo piece. So
Yeah, and I love Puyo Puyo, so I really got into that. Knockout Fighter is kind of generic looking, but I liked it. And Perfect Knockout is my favorite suit of the series. Like, I love the way it looks. The mix of blue and red in the headpiece and all the way down. It's really cool looking suit.
And do you know what Perfect Knockout reminds me of? It reminds me of like a Puzzle Fighter 2. It was like a weird Capcom thing where they cheapified the Street Fighter characters and had like Puyo Puyo stuff. Like, it was weird,
right?
Like, but I'm sure you know more about it than I do. So
and Kamen Rider Poppy, I just think her suit is cute, so I really like it. Ride player Nico, a hat and a backpack and a badge.
The ride player suits. Well, it's essentially, they're like rider foot soldiers. They're sort of like, the Ryo troopers from Fires. Like, they're okay. They're just very brown, and brown to me is boring. So
I remember, what was it, when they first introduced the Riot Troopers in Fires, the one guy who was a main character, he finally got to transform, and I'm like, oh, that's his rider form? Come on. But yeah, Kamen Rider Chronicle, we said a little bit about. I like the suit design mostly because it's green. But it still feels a little generic to me. Like, I don't find it it's menacing, obviously, but it's not as good as, say, something like Perfect Knockout, which I thought was a lot.
I just know that the Chronos suit is made from spare parts. Like,
really?
I think I believe they actually took the tape, the little trench coat around his his legs from, I think, a wizard suit, maybe? I forget. Something like that.
I mean, I assume that they make multiple suits for each rider form, because they're going to get damaged and whatnot, and you need a version for stunts and a version for whatever. So I guess that makes sense, and reusing stuff's good. It makes me a little sad, because, like, if you do crossover movies and you want to show some of the other forms of a rider, I just hope they're not taking away all the suits, so that you might never get to see a certain form of wizard ever again, because
because I'm for Geo, there's a Rider Time Kamen Rider Shinobi special, which will be 3 episodes, and the secondary rider for Shinobi, that was basically a dark drive suit, and they kind of I don't know, like, I really like the dark drive suit, and they essentially kind of like mutilated it to make a secondary rider for Shinobi. If you've seen that suit.
I really like Shinobi when they introduced it in Zeo, so I was really excited when they announced its own, like, kind of spin-off thing.
If you didn't know, the Shinobi suit was made from a ghost suit, and they used a ride player helmet.
Oh, really? Cool. I did not know that.
I know. I think like his top is a ride player, and his bottom legs is a ghost suit, I believe.
How do you know this shit?
Because I look it up, and it's not that hard to tell if you look at the suit. I can sort of, because I sort of knew from the beginning, from the moment they said we're going to make future riders. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're going to take old parts from suits and like make them future riders. They did the same thing for all of them. Like, Quiz is a ride player suit with a ghost helmet, and Kikaida is a guardian from Build. So
interesting. Anyways, going back to the suits, Chronos, I don't know. It's just it's menacing, but I find it kind of generic. It's not as cool as some of the other suits. Riley?
I like the Chronos suit a lot, but it's like, maybe it's just the color scheme, just again black and green.
How do you guys feel about Tattle Legacy?
Okay, the level 50 forms. I do like Tattle Legacy. I prefer Tattle Fantasy because I prefer like the red and black.
Yeah.
But I do like the white angel motif. Also the thing about it is that like I sort of liked that that the maximum level in XA was level 99 because that really like took back to like like NES and SNES days where level 99 was the highest you could get in an RPG. But then they decided to actually make it level 100 for Brave, and like I was fine with that. But I did kind of like that reference to like old SNES RPGs where the highest you could get was 99.
I also like that one of the references with the Title Legacy Gashat, it was basically a regular Gashat, but wires were coming out of it almost to show like they were like they tried to make it like one of those old NES carts that had extra stuff in it. Because if for most people who don't know, an NES cart, only the bottom half on most of them is where the game is. The rest is space. But in certain games like Earthbound, if it had been released, I actually have a repo card of Earthbound for NES. The whole the PCB takes up the whole cartridge space. And they did that because because early on they had to take Japanese games and put a converter PCB in them, and they need to make the cards long enough so that they could do that. So that's why if you take apart an NES game, like sometimes you'll get something where the board's only like the little end of the cart, and sometimes you'll get one that takes up the whole cart because of later NES games had to have more chips and stuff like that for them to be more complex. And that's kind of a cool little reference that they do with Title Legacy to make it say like it's such a big game that they had to put extra wires and shit on the end of it to make it work.
Yeah, like the dual Gashats in general, like references to stuff like pack like double cartridges. I think there was like a double cartridge for like Super Mario Brothers and Duck Hunt.
Yeah,
And no, you could also be like dumb and say it's a reference to Action 52.
No, whatever.
It's a Coltron 10-in-1 or whatever.
Yeah, no, actually, Tattle Legacy first appeared in Cho Superhero Tyson. So I think the reason why the Gashat looks so destroyed is because it came from Dark Heroes thing. Cho Superhero Tyson was not a very good movie at all. So
yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that film. I'll say that much when I saw it.
Yeah.
But it did what it needed to do. So, and yeah, I know that they introduced that Gashat because I saw that movie before. Because the way TV Nihon, and by the way, I love them for doing this. When they do their batch torrents of all the episodes, they include the movies that happen in that time frame into the batches. So I watched that movie before I watched the episode when Tattle Legacy actually debuts in the show, so I knew about it ahead of time. So yeah, good on TV Nihon because they're great.
Yeah, I love TV Nihon. I don't understand why people hate them so much. Like
some people like just prefer different translation, and I will say I didn't like TV Nihon's translations at first. I always thought overtimes were more accurate, but as time went on, overtime focused more on getting it out fast than being accurate, and I was just like, I'll fucking just wait for the TV Nihon ones. I can't remember, one of them didn't use honorifics, and that really kind of like bugged me at first because I came from anime originally, and anime used the honorifics, and it's not and I sound like a sub snob when I say this because I'm not. I actually prefer dubs, which is probably going to make people make people mad. But
it's just preference, dude.
I like it when they would add honorifics and stuff, because there's not really an equivalent to honorifics for us. Some of them, yes, but not a lot of them are. So when they try to translate it to make it seem different, like at first I didn't like that. So over time I got into it, and I was just like, I don't care. So
like the only dub I could think of that kept the honorifics in was the dub for Lucky Star. I thought that was kind of odd. So
yeah,
they keep it in the Persona dubs too for the games, which I think is weird when it's in a dub. But when it's subbed, I like to see that stuff because if there's Japanese only stuff, I want to know what it is. So, but yeah, you know what? Over time, I've changed my tune. So, and I mean, I still watch overtime stuff because I'm in their Discord servers. So hi, overtime Discord people. But yeah, in terms of the suits for the riders, because I think we've covered all of them at this point. I love the motif. I love the way the motif is. The gamer motif works really well. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the simplicity that Gaim had with its suits. And I like it when it's simple and effective. And Gaim, like, if you look back on Gaim now compared to suits we've had, they look pretty like basic. But they did that because it fit the motif really well. And I think that with XA basically just took that to the next level. It leveled it up, you could say, by making the games be very well, like, not just in the story, but the games be influenced in the actual armor. Like, I can see why you like the like Brave's Do Re Mi form, because it is a very stylized form. And I really like it too. I think it's kind of neat to see a DJ Knight with backwards hat. But
yeah, actually, we've got to talk about like X's final form. I like Muteki Gamer. It is kind of gaudy, but I do really like it though.
Yeah, Hyper Muteki basically is what you said. It's like supersonic, essentially. And I was like, thank God, like it wasn't a bigger mecha. Like that was the thing I was worried about. There's just going to be another big mecha thing. Because after seeing like Maximum Mighty X for a long time, it feels like it's wobbling around too much, and I'm like, can he move it that?
Yeah, like that is a huge suit. Like I don't know how people manage to like I don't know how people like work in those things. Like not really like the basics of them, more like stuff like like Sentai Mecha. How the hell do you work in that? That thing must be heavy as.
I remember seeing a outdoor zoomed out shot from production on Go Busters, and like it like we see it in the show as their big mecha, but when you think about it, it's dudes in a suit and they have to move like this.
Yeah. I think I saw like something like that with like some old like Sentai behind the scenes stuff from like the early to mid 90s with Die Ranger and Zoo Ranger. Yeah.
Yeah. But my favorite part of the Hyper Muteki is like how he transforms. Like he just rockets out of the Maximum Mighty armor. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I also love the song from it, how it just ends with Hyper Muteki Exceed.
Yeah. Like by the way, I love the jingles for this show. The Gashat jingles are great. My favorite I think is either Hyper Muteki or actually I think no, my favorite is level a billion, because it's just like it's essentially just Dan sucking his cock for like 30 seconds, and I love it.
I think my favorite is, I know it's generic, but I think my favorite is Bang Bang Shooting. I know it's just like bang, 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 shoot. I just like it.
Yeah.
Shakariki Sports I really like too. I like its jingle.
That's cool.
Yeah, I think I actually like the proto Shakariki Sports jingle more, because I Shakariki meets a cookie.
What about needing a cookie?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, you know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of how bombastic the jingles were in Guy. Like you have the like Baron's waiting jingle is just like, it's just horns.
Yeah, like I love that music has become so important with jingles. Though it has made like a Decade a bit more complicated, because like when Decade transforms, it's like a cut down instant version of the transformation. So like, but for when Decade returned in Geo, they didn't cut down the jingles. Like when he transforms, it's like the full Ore Damashi jingle. They didn't cut it down at all, probably because they couldn't. So
I I think what probably would have been better. It's just like it's like it's like Kamen Rider, Ghoster, Ghoster.
That would have been better, yeah.
Or when he goes to build, like Kamen Rider, build, Rabbit Tank.
Rabbit Tank, yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing about it. Like some series have really like bombastic and crazy like jingles, and then others just are kind of subtle, which I'm totally okay with. It's just whatever the feel of the show is, and X8 is definitely one where the jingles really matter because an important thing about video games is their music or their opening theme, and there you go. That's like that's kind of the
I actually never thought about it. I never thought about it that way. Wow.
Yeah, because I mean, I haven't played Mighty Action X. I want to because I actually have a modded 3DS now, so I can play it. But
Cool.
like I've seen footage of people playing it. And I'm pretty sure that the jingle is part of the theme song for the game. So,
Oh, awesome.
yeah. By the way, I realized that that's a real game. You can get if you're in Japan, you can download Mighty Action X for 3DS. So
yeah, I know. I just never tried it because I have an Australian 3DS. I'm kind of stuck.
I recently soft modded my 3DS, so it's region free now. So I'm probably gonna try it at some point.
Yeah, like I would love to mod my 3DS because there's a group of fans that is translating Daigakuten Saiban, and I really want to play that game, but Capcom won't localize it. It's for many reasons. It's due to I believe the H.H. Holmes, that's a serial killer. Whoever wrote Sherlock Holmes, was stuck. Oh, that's horrible. And now I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. People go on.
So, all right. So, yeah. Let's talk about the villains' looks a little bit. I liked the villain stuff for the most part. Like some of them were kind of generic, like the magic one. I was just like, eh. It's a magical hat.
Yeah.
But they weren't bad. They were. That's one thing, and we'll get to this when we talk to build. And it's probably gonna have to be a separate podcast, by the way, guys. Just a heads up.
That's fine.
One of the things about build is I like some of the designs of the monsters, but some of them are really generic, and I just couldn't get over that. But also, like the smashes don't really matter that much partway through the show. Kind of like how in X8, the bugsters don't really matter that much. And even the villain of the week ones don't matter. They even start reusing them by the time they get near the end of the first arc. So
that tends to happen in multi-rider shows where the riders are more important than the monsters. It happened in Ryuki. It happened in Gaiman. It happens here in X8. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm okay that Rider's gone that way, that it's focused more on multiple rider stuff. Or in the case of something like Zeo, all the monsters are like the Shinkenger the End kind of thing. Which look kind of like evil looking monster rider things.
Yeah, like the another riders are a cool concept that just executed poorly with Geo.
I mean, I'm not going to get into it because I like Zeo. I'm loving it so far, but I know that some people don't. RyeGuy.
Oh no, Geo is worse than Ghost in my personal.
Yeah.
Well, I respect your opinion, but you're wrong. So let's get back to talking about the X8 villains. So yeah, I think like some of them were really cool. Like the Rose Guys thing was kind of neat. It suited his personality.
Yeah, lovely cut. I get that they got a comedian to play him. I get he's supposed to be funny. I didn't find him funny. I found him really obnoxious.
Yeah.
And the only funny thing about him, the only funny thing about him was that they'd randomly just strum a Spanish guitar when he'd start talking. That's the only funny thing about him.
Yeah. But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't matter all that much compared to the riders. So the suits were kind of generic looking, but they did what they were supposed to do. I didn't think any of the designs looked terrible. What was the racer one? The racer one was really cool. I like that one. What's it called? I can't remember what the name of the thing was. Maybe it was for Bakusho Bike. The Bakusho Bike Bucks. The one that he has the one that introduced Kiryu as a rider because he had to ride him to chase down the other dude because they have a race.
Yeah, to ride it. Giggity.
God damn it.
But Bakusho Bike, he's got just a Bakusho Bike, Giddy Chumbada, and then they like for some dumb reason they decide when he was laser turbo they decided to use the normal Bakusho Bike Gasher that I haven't used a proto Bakusho Bike Gasher, and that really bugged me. So I feel like if they made him use the proto Bakusho Bike Gasher, that would have made a lot more sense for level 0. But no, apparently the level 0 Bakusho Bike Gasher is just a modified version of the normal one, which Masamune I think made. It was weird.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'd say probably we enjoy the aesthetics, not just in the suits, but in the entire show because they really played up the gaming motif. But yeah, I think really the only other thing to talk about is the music, which wasn't as other than the jingles, wasn't as impactful this time. But I really enjoyed what music we got in the show.
Excite is a great opening theme.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is that I don't know what happened, but they started not showing the intro for a few episodes, and they played Excite at the end of the episode, and that really killed some of the mood they were trying to show in some scenes. So
again, I of course made fun of that like 2 years ago.
Yeah. Because when you start hearing, like, in the credits combined, you start hearing, I don't want to know.
And you got a serious moment. And, like, Dan telling X8 about his, you got a monster, Mars. And it's like...
And then X8's just like, I don't want to know. I gotta say, I love that the opening theme this time was more like... more like a somber boy band jam.
I love it.
Yeah. Actually, though, speaking of though, like my least favorite part of the show was like, because like Emu said something really, really dumb to Karuto when he was defeated. He said, "You're not a bad person. You're just really passionate about video games."
Yeah.
Yeah, like and like Osama bin Laden, you're not a bad person. You're just really passionate about Islam.
God.
Okay.
Don't worry, Hitler. You're not a bad.
All right, Lex. I'm gonna stop
Hitler,
you there. I'm gonna stop you there.
Yeah, that was dumb.
that you're beating a dead horse now. But
sorry.
No, it's fine.
I'm just trying to prove. I'm just trying to prove a point.
No. And X8 is. We've pointed out all the stupid things in X8. Obviously, like the pointless betrayal. Most of the first arc because it's slow. Just a lot of stuff that didn't need to be in there. But the funny thing about this show is that when it did stuff, it could do serious and silly perfectly, and that's one of the reasons why I like O's so much, because it knew when to be serious and it knew when to be silly. And some Kamen Rider shows don't get that. Like, I know we're going to talk about it another time, but Build had a lot of good silly moments, but they put a lot of them near the end of the show when it was the most serious. So it was, I guess they needed some way to work off some steam, but it like,
I mean, personally, I loved all of Build's humor because it was mostly just sarcasm and wit. So
yeah, and well, I mean, my favorite writer was Rogue, and for the last arc of Build, he basically was the guy with no fashion sense, even though he wore a suit all in the first arc.
Yeah, like I love that. Just like he like something would happen, he'd randomly just have a shirt to show his mood. It was great.
Yeah. I loved it, but at the same time, I'm like, this doesn't feel right. But we'll get to that when we talk about Build. But yeah, X8 I think had just the perfect balance that a lot of shows don't get. So I guess since we're already here, let's talk about our final thoughts here. Personally, X8 is one of my favorite Rider shows. It's up there with Gaim and O's for me, as well as other shows that I really enjoyed. And it, even though it had a slow start, I can forgive it because it really kicked it in high gear as the show went on. And the gaming motif, of course, I'm a gamer, so I love all that shit. But it had a solid story, solid narrative, and while it had some negatives, I think the positives highly outweigh any negatives it could have. And that's really all I have to say about the show. Lex, what are your final thoughts?
X-Aid is a good show. It's not in my top 5, but that's not a bad thing. I really did enjoy the show. My biggest problem with the show really was just the first half, and that I just wish Emmy was just like a character I actually wanted to follow. Because I don't hate Emu. It's just compared to especially like Sento that we got next year. Sento was just such a far better main character than Emu, and again, like it's just my thing with like I just Koda was just Eiji and Koda and even Ryotaro were just a far better example of how you do this kind of character where they're very idealistic, but they're actual human beings.
Yeah.
And like again, like, Emu's most human moment to me was when one, he broke down after hearing he had the Bugster virus, and two, when he finally was able to say, "Enough, Parade. I need to make you understand why you're messed up," basically, and kicked his ass into submission.
I have to agree to accept, because I do think in terms of a main character, I think the other characters are more important in X-Aid, but Emu was the center of the story, and he had an arc, whereas other characters, Takaru, didn't really have a full arc in the same thing. And Eiji's O's is my favorite writer of all time. He's my favorite writer. So, and the reason is because while he's while he's basically just a hippie for most of the show, there's a reason why, because he's that way. Is because all the shit that happened to him. And and also like how he
I love Eiji.
how he becomes like his desire to help people turns into greed for himself, and that's why he starts becoming a greed. Like it gets pretty fucked up in the later part of the series, and that's why I think I liked it.
Yeah,
my brother's been saying to me over and over again, we should watch O's again. I agree. I want to watch O's again because I've only seen it 5 times, but I love it because of how good it is. And Kota's another example, like you guys said, Kota of a character that can do that, but does what he has to, but gets his hands dirty when he has to. And that's and I think like the moment when he finally eats the fruit in Gaim to gain the god powers, essentially, is like the point where he's just like, I'm giving up my humanity so I can, protect everyone, kind of at that point. And that was like a strong point for his character. And Kota, for a lot of Gaim, wasn't really sure about about anyone or anything, because like his friends would be against him, and when things came revealed, it was a lot. He took it a lot harder than I'd say something like Emu, but because Emu, I think, was already a doctor, so he already knew how to deal with some trauma. But do I think it makes Emu a bad character? No, I just think, but I agree that he's not really, even though he's the main character, he's not really the most developed of all of them.
Yeah, it's like even though he's not the main character, he's not the main character. Oh, you want to be funny?
The real main character is Dan Kurito.
Let's be real. Like, sorry to interrupt you, Riley, but yeah, like I don't think Emu's a bad character. I just don't care enough about him to like. I cared about his backstory because I thought that was very interesting, but that's really about it. And I feel like his ideology wasn't challenged enough. Like, while yes, he did tone down on the I care more about the patient's innocuous problem today than their actual health. I just kind of wish he got his ideals challenged a lot more. Like, it's okay to have like some more stereotypical platitudes, like Sento did. He believed in love and peace, so that was constantly challenged and built. I just feel like if Emu's ideals were challenged a little more, and maybe he became a little more, I guess, rugged, or he was able to like confidently show why his ideals are something to like upstand to, then I probably would have liked him a lot more. But other than that, Emu's not a bad character.
Yeah, I will say that Emu didn't face as many trials as say someone like Sento or someone like Kota, but
Kota and Eiji.
Eiji, but like the thing is like but his like it made sense where he was with his growth. So but I mean it is a weakness of the show, I'm not gonna lie. Like X8's not perfect, obviously, as a show. Riley, you've been wanting to chime in, so go ahead.
Okay, so overall my thoughts on X8, it was good. Not in my favorites per se, but it is a series that I would go back and rewatch again. Its weakest part are essentially two of its characters, or four of its characters. Though, like everyone else, like Emu, Hiro, and Poppy and Nico, they're the weakest characters in the show. But that said, I don't hate them. They're just, you know, everyone else around them is far more interesting. Like, yeah, that's. Man, like there's also like the dumb comedy there's also like the dumb comedy. Sometimes the comedy gets a laugh out of me, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, and the video game motif was pretty well used, more than Ghost used its paranormal motif. It's like
god, like Ghost wasn't about Ghost, it was about eyeballs.
Yeah.
He's got his eye on you.
Yeah. Yeah, that's essentially me. Overall, X8's good. Not one of the best, not one of my favorites, but good for what it is anyway.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to add before we finish up our discussion on X8?
No, that's pretty much all I have to say. X8, good show. I quite enjoyed it. But a Build was just so much better.
Yeah.
I love Build, but it's my second favorite now. So
now let me ask you something. This is something that I tend to ask when it comes to this. If someone was starting Kamen Rider and they wanted to know a good place to start, would you recommend X8?
X8 is not a bad place to start at all. Personally, I say start with either double or O's. Personally, but if X8 was like your first real idea of Kamen Rider, like if the first image of Kamen Rider you saw was X8 and you thought, I want to watch that, wouldn't be a bad start at all. Yeah. Not at all.
I think one thing is that when I talk to people about Kamen Rider, like they've never heard it or anything, a lot of people are drawn to X8 because of the gaming motif. Because a lot of the people I talk to be like, "What's this thing you're watching?" I'm like, "Oh, it's a show about superheroes who use video game powers." They're like, "That seems kind of cool," and I'm like, okay, yeah, here's where you can find it, kind of thing. And I find a lot of people don't end up like watching it, but they're like X8 was one of those ones that was very interesting. It probably helped that like the main rider was pink, so he really popped for a color, and in color in general in the show was really popping. Until we got to the later stuff, but I mean it's like the aesthetics were just really good and they're really eye catching. But yeah, I have to agree. I think X8 would be one that I would, if somebody wanted to know where to start, it would be one I'd recommend. And I can't remember a YouTuber. He does Toku stuff. He's a relatively new YouTuber where he talked about all of the Heisei era shows from Double all the way to Zero. And one of the ones he highly recommended people start with was X8. I agree with that choice because it's got a lot of stuff that's going to draw new people in. The gaming motif helps because gaming's huge. So, but yeah. So if you guys don't have any other final thoughts,
actually, I would like to give some recommendations.
Sure.
For me personally, I don't think X8 is a bad start. If you want to start with X8, but that's fine. But for me personally, is like, while I prefer like phase 1 of the Heisei era, I think phase 2 is actually not a bad start. Like just starting from double working working right onwards, and then go back, watch some early Heisei stuff,
The other thing too about the newer Heisei stuff is it's as dark as it is, it's a lot lighter than the earlier Heisei stuff. Like
Yeah.
Like Fies, Blade are two shows that I've seen from that early era that are really kind of fucking dark. Especially like Fies.
Yeah.
Is it?
This is depressing.
And that's the thing. Like I was thinking the other day, since the Heisei era is about to end, I'll finally be able to do my top 10 Heisei Rider shows. Most of the ones on the list are from the later stuff because, the main thing with the early Heisei stuff, I mean, obviously the earlier Heisei stuff, they're still trying to figure out how to do Rider because they went from not doing Rider for a while and all them being cyborgs to now making gimmicks, which is what the Heisei era was all about. And stuff was really simple early on, and I think people want something more complex. As much as I complained about how many toys are in these shows now, like Ghost especially, one of the things that keeps me watching sometimes is to see the new powers and what, like early on with Ghost, the talk about 15 like icons. I wanted to find out who all the icons were because they were going to be based on historical people, which I thought was a really cool concept. And then they just went off the rails with upgrades. But something like Fies, for example, he has an upgrade form and a final form, and that's it. And while there's like 3 riders in that show, technically a 4th, or if you count a Rear Trooper.
10, well, 5 maybe, but 5 or 6 maybe. If you count movie exclusive one, but those are movie exclusives. So.
I'm not counting movie exclusive.
Although the weird thing about that was like, like some of those like little catch to like Kamen Rider Fies is coming up next.
Yeah.
The movie exclusive riders from that movie were shown in one of them for some reason.
That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, like some of the earlier shows like don't have a lot into them. So one of the things, as much as I complain about there being a lot of toys, one of the cool things about the new shows is you never know what you're going to get every week. Where something like Fies or Blade, you're not going to see new stuff all the time. You're going to see the same stuff, the same powers a lot. Though, and also, as much as I like Blade, its story is fucking convoluted, and I would never recommend that to somebody just getting into Kamen Rider because it's a weird show. It's like recommending Hibiki as the first Kamen Rider show. You don't get a sense of the franchise.
Yeah, I agree. Blade got a little weird during its middle, but like it's yeah.
But like it's
I haven't seen Blade.
Well, let me just tell you, the first 10 episodes are Tachibana-san!
I know everything about Blade. I know how it ends. I know about the memes. I know about that, like, the show was really hard to translate because it was really hard to understand what the characters were actually saying.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, this is not to sound racist, but in that show specifically, I had a hard time telling who was who until like 10 episodes in because everybody had a similar haircut. So I'm like...
Yeah, like, it's... Okay.
I'm not trying to sue a stereotype here. It was because that was the style in the 2000s. That was the hairstyle. So that's why it looks like that. But yeah, a lot of the earlier ones are harder for me to recommend, and that until we get to like Deno, because that's when the shows start becoming more energy filled, where they're less somber. That's not to say that we didn't get shows that were... Because of that, we didn't get shows that were, more integrated with story and stuff. Obviously, X8, like we talked about, Gaim is one of the best seasons. It's basically, somebody told me that they saw Gaim as Game of Thrones for superheroes. And I'm like, that's a pretty good explanation, technically, of Gaim. So I don't know, but yeah, I have to agree with you there, Riley, that a lot of the stuff from the later half of the Heisei era is easier to recommend because the first half's kind of depressing, like Fies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was just the time, the way it was back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything else you guys want to add before we finish up?
No, I think I'm good.
I'm all good.
Okay. So if you guys want to watch Kamen Rider X8, you can get the batch torrents from TV Nihon. Just be aware that there is no streaming service for this because technically the show has never been licensed outside of Japan. So just a heads up that these are fan subs that you'll be downloading. And by the way, if it ever becomes legal streaming, please take my recommendation to download these on torrents null and void. Because if there is a way to support an official release of Kamen Rider, much like we have with Ultraman, I recommend you do that, whether it be Crunchyroll, Netflix, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sometimes like professionals screw up more often than fan subbers do. So,
well, no. Well, what I'm saying is, if the option to watch these legally comes out, take the legal option. Is what I'm saying. Because if we can show the only way we can show support for Kamen Rider right now and these shows is buying the toys, and that doesn't really reflect our thoughts on the show because they don't really. While Toei and Bandai are aware of import sales of toys, and they're definitely aware that we're watching these shows, they're not until they start deciding that they want to make it available to us. Like we're not the demographic, so please, like if in the future from this podcast, if it becomes available on a streaming service or somehow legally available for us to obtain, take the legal route. But until then, the only option is to download the series because it's not available anywhere else. So now with that, let's move on to what we're working on. Riley, you might as well go right ahead.
I have a YouTube channel. It's called RyeGuy Productions. I do skits where I just make fun of, Toku and whatnot.
You've been grinding in the last week with bottle tests.
I know. I keep going with the bottles, or I find like something else.
I mean, until you run out of bottles, I'm fine with you keep doing it. Like eventually, I know you're going to run out of ideas for the bottles, and you'll just move on to something else. But I'm liking what you're doing right now with the full bottle tests.
Oh, thanks.
There is some toys that I'm wondering if you're ever going to get around to doing a test video on. Because some of your older ones where you shoot a thing and you run away, and that was kind of fun.
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna try to go through my collection here to see what I can. I have the Lunar Q from Wild Force. I want to try to test that out, but I need.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
I want another pun video where you go through all the toys and shoot or take out minions with puns.
Okay.
Just like you did for the.
Yeah, well, his most viewed videos, his Gokai puns video, has over 850,000 views.
Yeah, that's a great video. I love the thumbnail for that. Can you go back to doing those thumbnails where it's just your face going?
All right.
Those were the best, where you just put your dumb face over fucking rider suits. That was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like what you're doing with your channel. Your channel has grown quite a bit. So
yeah, I know. Definitely improved over the when I first joined, because when I first joined, I was going through a identity crisis, and it wasn't until I think 2015 where it's okay, this is my identity. This is what I want to do. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? I'm glad you kind of stopped doing the commentaries and stuff, because I'm going to be honest, when you were doing those, I was like, dude, I did these years ago, and they're bad for your channel.
Yeah.
So because you were starting to get people reporting them, and I'm like, just don't do it anymore.
Yeah, that was not a good time. Yeah.
But it is what it is, and you know what? That's what creators do. They try different things. So you did what you did, and I think you found your niche now. And you and I have a special project coming up that hopefully will be shown soon.
We got to work on that.
We do have to work on that. Yeah.
Maybe
We'll tell you about it later. By the way, Lex, I know you say you don't do much on the net anymore, but is there anything you do want to talk about?
I'm a lurker. I just lurk. I will randomly appear in a comment section. I'm a koala.
lurks.
So just look for a lurking koala and you might find me. I don't know if I'll ever get back to doing YouTube. I need to wait. I've just been going through a lot right now. My trust has been broken really badly, and I really don't want to be on the internet. I don't really want to be a public face right now.
Hey,
so I'd rather just be in the shadows until I'm comfortable enough, and I don't have to worry about people throwing baseless accusations.
Sorry.
Yeah, like I just rather not people be able to throw baseless accusations at me without anything. Yeah.
Hey, man,
I
understand.
yeah.
Take your time. Take as much time as you need.
Yeah, like all I really do right now is I'm just a guest on videos. I appear in Riley's videos. I am a tiny little blonde horse in his videos that sometimes zaps him when he's being an idiot. So I'm that, and I join Riley for his own podcasts. And I'll always be a part of those.
You're in the Birdemic video too that Riley did.
Yeah, I am. Yeah. I mean, Riley's my best friend. It's always like my girlfriend and I are always in these videos a lot of the time these days. So.
Like the stuff you saw with like the Birdemic and the Sharknado, that's just gonna be like a yearly tradition now. Just I do like these big,
Did you release a Sharknado Part 2?
Yeah. Did you not see that?
I need to see it.
Oh, okay. I'll send it to you later.
What's the next one? The Room?
No, I don't think I'm going to be parroting anything this year. It's just going to be like something to do with one of the Pandora panels, like specifically the black one with all the gold full bottles on it.
And of course, the thing we're working on, which you guys will see probably sometime in the summer. But yeah. For me, I'm working on reviews. I have several scripts ready. I have an April Fool's Day video I'm working on, which by the time this podcast comes out will probably be out. If I get it done. If I don't get it done, it will just be a regular video. But yeah, that'll be on the channel. I have more podcast guests lined up. I did do that interview with, or not really interview, but more of a chat with Proto Dude from the Rockman Corner website. I do have a couple of other people lined up. I'm just going to be talking with them. I actually have a big YouTuber that I've lined up for an interview, but they can't do it till the summer. So when that happens, you guys will see it, and I'm very excited to bring that one here. So, and also, if you guys have any suggestions for people you'd like me to have on the podcast, please feel free to @ me or mention on the Facebook page, and just use #HunterBase Podcast and let me know. I'm always looking for suggestions for new guests. Dicker. Oh my God, Caddy hasn't even responded to my emails yet. That guy's busy. I'd love to though. Like,
I understand. I love Caddy. I actually got Riley into Cadicarus, and now Caddy's like his favorite person ever.
You guys saw that he was in my review, right?
Yeah, I saw. It's like
that was great.
What was your reaction when you guys saw that?
Like, dude, what the
fuck? I'm just like, whoa, you actually got Caddy, though it was at a con, so maybe it wasn't that difficult.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
it
was his first time in Canada. He was there for EGLX, and I don't know how I got the balls to ask him, like, hey, can we do a thing for my review? He's like, yeah, sure, let's do it. He was really enthusiastic about it. He's like, let's fucking do it. I'm like, sweet. And actually, we did that take we did was like the third take because he wasn't happy with the first 2 takes. He's like, can we do it again? I'm like, okay. So Caddy's really
yeah, Caddy is awesome. I love his stuff. He's one of my favorite.
So Caddy, my audience has spoken. Interview when? I'll message you on Patreon, buddy. All right. Well, RyeGuy, where can people find you?
Just look up RyeGuy Productions on YouTube. Just in case like something else comes up, because like when I tried searching up RyeGuy Productions on YouTube, like my channel did come up, but there was also like a couple of other channels under like that same name. But like I have the most like subscribers out of them, so like that it shouldn't be that hard to find. In case it is though, try searching up RyeGuy Productions Toku as well.
Have you tried just changing your YouTube channel username to RyeGuy instead of being Rye5Guy the way it is right now?
Yeah, I did change. I changed it to RyeGuy Productions.
No, the URL is RyeGuy Productions though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was. I would have just gone for RyeGuy because I tried to go for Zeromaster, but some speedrunners.
I don't know what. When I first started my channel back in 2011, it was like it wouldn't let me go with RyeGuy. It's like no, you gotta go with Rye5Guy. It took me until like
okay, Daddy Derek.
it took me until like 7 or 8 years now to finally change that.
Yeah. But yeah, you can find his skit videos he was talking about on his channel. Do you have any social medias people can follow you on?
I have a Facebook page, a Twitter page. Those are linked on my channel. If you want to ask me questions, I got an Ask FM and a Curious Cat as well. That's pretty much about it.
Don't people just like troll you on there?
Yeah.
And Lex, I know that you said you don't do anything. Is there anything you would want people to follow you on, or should we just skip?
Absolutely not. Leave me alone, please.
Leave me alone. People start throwing stones at your house in Australia.
I'm anti-social, okay? I don't like people.
Well, guys, you know where to find me. Obviously, if you're watching this, the YouTube upload of this version of the podcast is on my Zeromaster Reviews channel. You can catch the Let's Plays on the Zeromaster LP channel. And I'm starting a new channel, but I don't have any content for it yet, so I'm not going to talk about that right now. You can find me on social media at Zeromaster fan page on Facebook, at Zeromaster on Twitter, and I stream on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. And if you want to support me and this podcast, my Patreon is there. Tiers start at $1 and go up to, I don't know, like $15. I'm a cheap ass. I don't know how to Patreon, but if you want to support the show and get behind the scenes stuff like this raw recording of the podcast or other behind the scenes stuff or early access to videos, you can follow on Patreon or support on Patreon. If you're more if that's not enough for you, if you want to get something out of it, I recently became affiliate with Indie Gala. So if you buy their bundles, if you don't know what Indie Gala is, by the way, it's like Humble Bundle, but they do bundles every week, like several bundles, and you can support indie devs. And I have an affiliate link where if you use the link, it will support me as well, and you'll get deals on games. I just bought a Dojinshi bundle they did, so that's there if you want to get that. But they do games and comics and stuff, so check them out if you can. If you don't have any money but you want to show your support anyways, use my affiliate link for the Brave browser. Brave is a browser made by the people who originally worked for Mozilla. Those are the people who made Firefox, and it's a secure browser that protects your data. And also blocks many other things. It's got built-in ad block. It's got built-in data block. Those nasty ads on Facebook that show your recent searches, yeah, you're not going to get that with Brave because it blocks all that stuff. So if you want
a built-in VPN,
no, that's the only thing it doesn't have. But it is, if you want to protect your data and support me at the same time, just click the affiliate link and get a free web browser made by the people who made Firefox. If you like Firefox, this is basically like more secure Firefox, and Brave is my main browser. I wouldn't tell people to download it if I didn't believe in the product, and I certainly do. It just can't use Flash or Java, but that's okay because Flash or Java are going to be gone soon. And
well, if anyone does want a VPN, I recommend ExpressVPN, hashtag not sponsored. I actually use it myself. It's pretty good and pretty cheap. So yeah.
I use NordVPN, hashtag not sponsored NordVPN. Please sponsor me, please. please. Or ExpressVPN. You know, if you guys are listening, you guys can fight over who's gonna whatever. Just please sponsor me. But
it's red.
but yeah, and yeah, that's about it for this episode of the podcast. Thanks, guys, for coming on. Appreciate
no problem.
Absolutely no problem. I'd love to come back anytime you want me to. So yeah.
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to talk about build, and we're gonna have to talk about Sentai at some point.
Yeah,
so,
or we can dive into other like topics. Like I kind of want to discuss like Canadian channels, like just the Canadian stuff we grew up on.
Oh yeah, dude, I'd totally be down for that. I should get you and CJ in on that because CJ was from Ottawa, so he had different stuff, and I had different stuff, and you, of course, had some stuff too.
Yeah. Or maybe like I don't know, or we could just talk about I don't know toys or something. I don't know.
I got some of those.
Just like where we started as collectors,
Yeah, that'd be a cool topic.
That'd be a great one.
That'd be a great topic that I could have you guys and probably a couple others too, because especially my buddy Unreal, who got into Power Rangers partially because of me and now has more Power Rangers toys than I have. I think his Power Rangers collection rivals even yours, Riley. But yeah. But anyways, guys, that's it for this episode. For the 100 Base Podcast, once again, I was Zeromaster, and with me today I had Lex and RyeGuy. Anything you guys want to say before we leave?
Nah, just butts are nice.
End us off on some Australian slang, Lex.
Okay. Oi, Mum. Do you mind popping down to the servo, this Arvo, and then going down to Macca's, and then maybe going to a bottle to get a few tinnies, and then maybe we can go to the bitch and get knackered this afternoon. How about that?
Oh, some fine looking Sheilas in this Maggie.
Yeah.
All right, we're done. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.